Fox Sports welcomes you inside the Silverdome, where the 3-2 Detroit Lions host the 0-4 Atlanta Falcons. Good afternoon, everybody. Kenny Albert along with Ron Pitts. It's been a tough couple of weeks for the Atlanta Falcons. On the field, 0-4, and off the field, much of the focus has surrounded quarterback Jeff George.
You know, when I talked to the Atlanta players last night, I get the feeling that they don't miss Jeff George all that much. I also get the feeling that they have a lot of confidence in that man, Bobby Hebert. He's not Jeff George, doesn't have the big arm. He's going to rely on a short game. He's smart, he can be very accurate, and more importantly, he's going to run June Jones' offense. Don't forget about the run for the Atlanta Falcons. They got Craig Hayward, but they also got a guy named Jamal Anderson. He's got a great stiff arm. He's got a 5.6 yard per carry average. That's #1 in the NFL. And
June Jones' run and shoot offense will be up against a very stingy Detroit Lions defense, which has allowed only 12.5 points per game.
I think the key here is patience. You know, the run and shoot is going to hit some passes on you. They're going to move the ball. The defense for Detroit can't get frustrated. They can't give up the big play. Offensively, I think it starts with Scott Mitchell. Here's a guy that whenever he starts good, they stay good. If he starts bad, the team kind of goes bad. But you know, Wayne Fontes has always got that ace in the hole in Barry Sanders. And the saying around here is, when things go bad, run Barry Sanders to make them better.
And Barry Sanders on track for his 8th consecutive 1,000-yard season. Barry Sanders and the Lions host the Falcons, still searching for their first victory of 1996. We'll have the opening kickoff coming up when we return after these messages from your local Fox station.
Bowl 31.
1-2 in a row. The Atlanta Falcons 0-4. June Jones, former assistant coach under Wayne Fontes during the 89 and 90 seasons. Fontes, the winningest coach in Lions history. The Lions 3-2 this season, as Jason Hansen will kick it off. Back deep for the Falcons, Eric Metcalf along with Jamal Anderson. The Falcons have not won a game on the road since last October, while the Lions have won 9 straight here at the Silverdome. Metcalf with 8 career touchdowns on returns. Detroit coming off last week's 27-0 shutout of the Buccaneers in Tampa, while the Falcons were defeated by the San Francisco 49ers. Jamal Anderson on the left with Metcalf, and we are set to go from the Silverdome. 4th consecutive year the Lions and the Falcons have met. This will be Eric Metcalf, who stays right there. So the Atlanta Falcons will start out from their own 20-yard line, led by Bobby Hebert, his 2nd consecutive start in relief of the suspended Jeff George. Hebert last week, 3 interceptions in the loss to San Francisco, also threw 2 touchdown passes. Roman Fortin and Dave Richards, both ex-Detroit Lions. Craig Hayward gets the start in the backfield. Brown and Preston replacing the injured J.J. Burden and Burt Emanuel. Emanuel, the leading receiver. Both Emanuel and Burden inactive. On first down, Hebert rolling left, does not find an open receiver and gains 3 on first down. Forced out of bounds by the #1 draft pick out of Texas A&M, Reggie Brown, in his NFL debut. The front 4, Kerwin Waldrop, rookie out of Central State for the injured Tracy Scroggins, along with Ellis, Thomas, and Porche. Reggie Brown, who we just mentioned, along with Stephen Boyd. And the Lions going with 5 in the secondary. The nickelback receiver is Greg Jeffries, along with Raymond Malone. Benny Blades, 98-yard touchdown last week. And Ryan McNeil. 2nd down and 7. Hebert back to throw once again, cannot find anybody, escapes the pressure and threw it away. The intended receiver was Eric Metcalf, so it will be 3rd down and 7.
Yeah, see, coming into this game, Bobby Hebert is not Jeff George. He's going to have to rely on the short game, the thinking. Don't forget the run. We talked about Jamal Anderson in the pregame. Hey, for Detroit also, Jamal Anderson, Craig Hayward, they got to watch these guys run the ball. Detroit hurts people, Atlanta hurts people passing, but running the ball is where they really get to people. and the weapons for Scott Mitchell. He's got to spread the ball around. He's done a good job of that the last few weeks. That's what's gotten this team back on track. But like we said also, Kenny, don't forget, when things start to get bad, they got Barry Sanders to make them better.
That is Luther Ellis shaken up on the last play. First-round pick a year ago. The Lions already missing one starting defensive lineman, with Tracy Scroggins out with the ankle injury. So they cannot afford to lose Luther Ellis.
Luther Ellis. There's Luther Ellis right there. Now right here he's going to get cut. And you can see the way that right ankle got bent.
That was Robbie Tobet, the left guard, number 61.
Watch 61. He's going to hit that right ankle. You know, that's a huge blow, because Luther Ellis, a guy coming in, they really expect him to be the perfect complement to Hank Thomas down there in those two tackle positions.
Especially against this run and shoot, they hope to clog up the middle with Thomas and Ellis, but now Ellis will head to the sidelines.
You know, you talk to John Tierlink, the defensive line coach of the Detroit Lions, and he always expected, there's Tierlink right there. He expected and told Luther Ellis, I expect you to play like John Randall. Remember when John Randall and Hank Thomas were in Minnesota? Tierlink was the coach. John Randall played that under tackle away from the nose tackle. That guy gets a lot of single pass protection sometimes, man to man. He's expected to beat that. Bonham now is going to have to come in and step up and play.
Yes, Shane Bonham, third season out of Tennessee, has replaced Luther Ellis. 3rd down and 7. Falcons with the 4 wide receivers. Terrence Mathis in motion. Long count by Hebert, and he hands it off. Brent Hayward on a draw up the middle, and he was stopped. Robert Porcher along with Kerwin Waldrop. Gain of 2, and the Falcons will go 3 and out.
See, Detroit knows what that run can do to people. Yeah, you have the pass, and that guy right there is fired up. That's the rookie, Kerwin Waldrop. The pass is one thing, but Atlanta has been killing people running the football. We talked about Jamal Anderson, 5.6 yards a carry. That's number 1 in the NFL.
And now Dan Straczynski from his own 15 punts it away. Pro Bowler Glenn Milburn from the 29. Milburn with a burst of speed, and then is upended after a short gain. 8-yard return by Milburn, 46-yard punt, as Scott Mitchell leads the Lions out. He threw 4 interceptions week 1, but only 2 since then. Tied for 2nd in the league with 8 touchdown passes. And the men protecting Mitchell, Roberts, the former Seahawk, along with Compton, Glover, Semple for the injured Scott Conover, and Moss. Barry Sanders, the 3 wide receivers, Morton, Perriman, and Moore, suffering from a sore shoulder. Pete Metzelaar, the tight end. Herman Moore did not practice all week. And on 1st down, this is Barry Sanders, and he scampers back to the line of scrimmage. Falcons setting up defensively as you take a look at Cornelius Bennett, Chuck Smith with Mo Gardner, Travis Hall, and Lester Archambault, the front 4. Jesse Tuggle, leading tackler the last 7 years for Atlanta, along with the longtime Bill Bennett. And the nickel defense, McKyer with Bates, Bush, Walker, and Lenny McGill. Tim McKyer, a former Lion. Here's Mitchell on 2nd down. Slides out to the 44, so it will be 3rd at approximately 4 yards.
A nice rush on the outside by the left defensive end, Chuck Smith. There he is. He's getting a pretty good push on the outside corner of Ray Roberts, and that forces Mitchell up into the pocket. Plus, you got to give the credit to the secondary of Atlanta. Great coverage downfield. Really had no place to go with the ball.
And the Lions line it up once again with the 3 receivers, Perriman, Moore, and Morton. Here's Mitchell, short drop on 3rd down, cannot find anyone, takes it himself. He lost the football. The question is, did the officials feel he was down? And that looks to be the case. So it will be 1st down for the Lions right around midfield.
Mitchell had no place to go with the ball for the second down in a row. He had to pull it down and go for it. He wants to go to this side of the field over to Herman Moore, but you'll see the coverage is outstanding. He looks right there. He wants to go in the three-step drop. It's not there.
And on the first down, this is Sanders. And once again, he is able to get back to the line of scrimmage and then was brought down by Dan Owens, who spent the last 6 years here in Detroit with the Lions. And Barry Sanders, third in the NFL, looking to become the first player in league history to hit the 1,000-yard mark 8 consecutive seasons. And Ron, I would say as long as Barry remains healthy, no question about it, he will be the first.
Absolutely.
Here's Mitchell on second down. The slant intended for Moore. Once again, good coverage on the play from Lenny McGill. And Moore, as we mentioned, with that sore right shoulder, and as a former defensive back, what would you do if you were covering Herman Moore? Would you go after that shoulder?
Well, you know, that's definitely a factor, and you'd like to try to, but you don't want to go after the shoulder and miss, because there's nothing wrong with his legs. Remember that. And he can get deep on you. So, you know, that's one of those deals where if you get a chance to tackle him, you might want to put him on the ground extra hard. But I talked to Charlie Sanders, the former Lion player and now wide receiver coach with the Lions. He said Moore has been instructed thoroughly to get on the ground, get out of bounds after he makes a catch.
And now on 3rd and 10, Mitchell, and he threw it out of bounds. The intended receiver was Brett Perryman. Coverage on the play from Tim McKyer.
Notice you hear the boos. This is the problem with Detroit with Scott Mitchell. If he gets off to a bad start, then the team kind of rolls bad. And don't forget, you got some coaches on this field that know each other very well. June Jones here is a quarterback coach, along with Mouse Davis, 90-91. You know what? They know the run and shoot. They know how it works. They know how to stop it. Both sides know each other.
High snap as Metcalf calls for the fair catch. Mark Royals 36-yard punt. And the Falcons back to the offense when we return.
Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, with fares so low you have the freedom to go places. By Porsche, who wish to remind you there is no substitute. By Visa, the preferred card of the NFL. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And by IBM, solutions for a small planet.
Kenny Albert, Ron Pitts back in Detroit as the Lions' Luther Ellis, we are told, with a sprained knee, and he is headed back to the locker room for evaluation. Now the Falcons, their second possession from the 19-yard line. Hayward to the outside, then cuts back inside, and the gains 3.5 yards on first down. Kerwin Waldrop on the stop.
Right away, June Jones knows that he's got a guy in there who is not the starter, Shane Bonham, 96, and look what they do to him. They go right after him. They start with the double team and try to run the ball in that area.
Well, they give Hayward 4 yards on the first down carry. Now 2nd and 6 for the Falcons with 3 receivers and a tight end, Mitch Lyons, in motion. Lyons lined up as a wide receiver. Quick drop by Hebert, in trouble, dumps it off. Good pressure from Robert Bourget, who Wayne Fonts told us yesterday is having his best year as a Lion.
Good job. Watch the way Hebert has to pull the trigger. He starts to pull the trigger, then has to reload. He doesn't have what he wants. 91 Bourget comes around the corner and beats Richards inside. I mean, that's just a strength move. Richards expecting the outside speed rush, which is what Bourget has done a lot. He just beats him to the inside. He opened the gate inside. This is a defense. Detroit's going to have to be patient like this. If they move the ball, fine, but they can't get frustrated, try to jump on something, and give up a big one.
3rd down and 6. Here's Bourget once again. He sacks Hebert for Robert Bourget, his 3rd sack of the season, and the Lions hold the Falcons to 3 and out once again.
He beats Dave Richards once again. There's a matchup. You know, Richards was a guy that was hurt, didn't play last week. Anton Davis came in and played for him. He took him on the inside. This time he swings him and goes around on the outside.
Robert Porcher in his 5th season out of South Carolina State. And now the Straczynski punt, played by Milburn at the 43, across midfield to the 40. One man to beat. It's the punter, and he is chased down from behind. So Milburn is taken down inside the 25-yard line. 35-yard return.
When you've got guys like Milburn in the game and Metcalf, something's got to give. If he can get the first guy to miss, good block right there on the Falcons' great special teamer, Elbert Shelley. But boy, that's Frank Gantz's nightmare, the special teams coach for Atlanta, to see Glenn Milburn break that first lane and then take off down the field.
Ron George saved a touchdown from behind. So now the Lions from the Falcons 24, and Sanders is tackled by George, who made the key special team stop just one play ago.
Yeah, and here's another nightmare, Barry Sanders. Now, you notice they got the great field position, and that's something that's going to help Scott Mitchell. But you also notice the first play they run with is Barry Sanders. Nobody comes into a game having to or wanting to take Mitchell out of it first. They come into the game thinking they got to take number 20 out of it. That's their main concern.
And 4 yards on first down for Barry Sanders. 2nd and 6 on the Atlanta 20. Here's Mitchell to the end, under pressure. Number 97, Cornelius Bennett.
They came with the inside corner blitz. McKyer came right there. There's Tim McKyer. He's going to come on the outside. Cornelius Bennett is going to come on the outside. See, somebody has to come up and pick up McKyer. Barry does a good job of that, but if Barry goes to that side, then nobody's going to pick up Cornelius Bennett. If I'm Barry, I think I'm going to go ahead and pick McKyer to pick up too. I mean, he's got quite a size mismatch against Cornelius Bennett.
And now Mitchell to Sanders. First completion for Scott Mitchell. It's a first down as Barry Sanders makes the catch out of the backfield, his 9th reception this season.
A couple weeks ago, Barry Sanders told me he'd like to catch the ball more out of the backfield. They don't move him much, and they really should, because whenever the guy makes any moves at all, it sends up a red flag. You know, that's just another handoff there. If you can get the ball to Barry any way, form, fashion you can, it's only going to help your offense.
Gain of 10, so the Lions now on the Falcons 11. Sanders in motion. Quick drop, Mitchell to the end zone, and he threw it behind Brett Perriman with coverage from Darnell Walker.
That time they did the same thing. They motioned Barry Sanders out to the right side again. Talking to the coaching staff for Detroit, they felt like they've been a little bit predictable. You know, if Barry's behind the center, then it's run. If Barry's offset, then it's pass. They never motion Barry much. They never use Barry in short yard situations. That's Tom Moore there, the offensive coordinator with the Lions.
Last year, Sanders set a career high with 48 receptions. Mitchell inside the 5, inside the 2 now. It's Perriman who makes the catch this time. He was the intended receiver on the previous down, and the Lions now with the ball on the Atlanta 1-yard line. It is spotted on the 1 as Perriman with his 20th catch this year.
They go right back to that side, and Perriman is a guy that came into this season. He had surgery last year on his knee, and he was kind of psyched out. You know, there's nothing wrong with the knee, but he just felt like it wasn't performing. He couldn't move it the same way. He goes down and he sees a doctor in Miami that did the surgery. He said, hey, you're fine. Just get back up to Detroit. Stop worried about your knee and play football. And you can hear everybody chanting, they want Barry in the game.
Timeout for measurement. And it is, let's see, it looks to be just short. So it will be 3rd down. Lions still looking for their first offensive points in the first quarter this season. They did score a defensive touchdown last week in the first quarter.
Scott Mitchell told us yesterday that he felt that the Falcons were very weak in the red area, inside 20 going in terms of stopping the run. And you see Barry's in the backfield.
2 tight ends for the Lions, 2 wide receivers, and Sanders. Mitchell takes it himself. And he is in for the touchdown.
Well, I guess you consider that going against the run, attacking the run. And I think that's smart. You know, when you have Barry in your backfield, everybody's going to key in him. The last thing they're looking for is for Scott Mitchell to go on the quarterback keeper.
So the Lions offense with their first quarter points this season. Mitchell's second touchdown run of the year. And now Jason Hansen, perfect, 14 of 14 on extra points. The holder is Mark Royals. And the Detroit Lions out on top. 2-yard touchdown run by Scott Mitchell. 6-play drive culminating with this. Back to the Silverdome, Kenny Albert with Ron Pitts as the Lions lead the Falcons by a touchdown.
Yeah, and that was all set up by that punt return. You know, you talk about making the great plays and great plays on special teams and how that can mean field position. Well, that was all the difference in the world for Scott Mitchell in the offense. They only had 30-some-odd yards to go, and that was the deal.
Following the 33-yard punt return by Quinn Milburn, now it's Eric Metcalf's turn. See what he could do on special teams for the Falcons. And Metcalf will start out from the 6. Metcalf to the outside, across the 35-yard line. So the Falcons will start in terrific field position. 31-yard return by Metcalf.
Right there, you know, every great punt returner has to have one thing happen. They got to get the first guy down the field block. You're going to see a great block right there by Corey Raymond on Elbert Shelley. And then, because they got great vision and he's got the great speed, he can find the crease and get upfield. But the key is getting that #1 flyer block and giving him a chance to catch the ball and then see things. And that's Frank Gantz right there. And when we talk about the troubles that Atlanta has had in terms of punt coverage and kickoff coverage. And that's unusual because Gantz is an outstanding special teams coach. But I think that I blame that on free agency. It's not like it used to be where you can keep good quality players, stack them, and then those were the guys you had running down on special teams. Now you don't have the same quality guys.
And the Metcalf return setting up good field position for the Falcons as Ironhead Hayward takes the first down handoff and battles his way ahead for about a yard and a half. Stephen Boyd in on the stop. Interesting situation with Ironhead Hayward and Jamal Anderson. They basically talk with each other on the sidelines to determine who plays which quarter.
Yeah, a very good relationship there. You know, you'd think two guys that basically are vying for the same position, a starting spot. Well, June Jones went to them at the beginning of the season and said, Hayward, you're going to start, and as far as playing time, you guys work it out between you. Then he walked off. Not too many coaches have faith in the character of their players to do that.
And not too many players competing at the same position would enjoy that relationship. Hebert going deep downfield, and it is incomplete. The intended receiver was Tyrone Brown. A flag on the play as Hebert took a hit. Hebert looking for the second-year man out of Toledo, Tyrone Brown, replacing the injured J.J. Burden.
That looks like a roughing the passer. And Bobby Hebert taking a shot downtown.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 93, hit the quarterback low.
That's Kerwin Waldrop, the rookie. He's in starting for Tracy Scroggins. He's on the opposite side up top there. Now you're allowed one step after the release of the ball. But see, what they got him for was the low hit. The step was okay. But if you hit the quarterback low, they call that an intent to injure, and they're going to give you the flag. And that's just a bit overthrown.
And remember, it was Kerwin Waldrop.
Very close. You know, I look at that. Wow, I've seen guys make that catch. I'm not saying that Brown should have, but those are the kind of tough catches that this team needs to make, and they needed that extra penalty there, that 15 yards. That helps them a lot, too.
Here's Hebert, incomplete, and now for a McDonald's game break. Let's head to James Brown in our Fox Television Center.
Can he take a look at this pick here by Wayne Simmons, defending tight end Ryan Whitnight, stripping it before he comes down. Officials right on top of the play. No controversy there. Still no score in Chicago. Back to Kenny and Ron. Ron, I know you liked it.
Boy, the first thing I thought of that play was the Jets-Washington game with Keshawn Johnson. I mean,
yes,
it was the
with
same,
Tom Carter.
Yeah, same kind of play, exact same.
It was Waldrop who we just took another look at, who knocked Warren Moon of the Vikings out in week 1. And now Hebert with the handoff to Gronk. Here's Hayward. And he is knocked back. Greg Jeffries among the 4 or 5 Lion defenders in on the stop.
They try to come with the trap play. They bring Tebek around from the outside. The guy that stops it right here, Robert Porcher. Watch what he does. See, he recognizes the play, and that's the key. Tebek can't get him blocked coming around the corner.
And he ran into the tight end Lyons. Hayward and his teammate Mitch Lyons bumped shoulders. 3rd down and 8 on the Lions 45. Hebert from the shotgun, looking for Roel Preston, and he overthrows Preston. And Hebert took another hit. Bobby Hebert now 0 for 4 as the Falcons will be forced to punt on their 3rd consecutive possession.
The Lions defensive line, they keep quarterbacks' heads up over their lockers for every sack and every guy they put out. One thing they try to do, they try to hurt and get to every quarterback every single game. They take pride in that. And I think that comes from Tierlink, the defensive line coach, coming from Minnesota. You know that he was back there when they had Millard, James Harris, Dolman on the same line. He knows how to get them to the quarterback.
Milburn lets this one go, and it takes a Falcon bounce. Ron George.
No, that's a touchback. They messed that up. They messed that opportunity up.
Falcons could not keep the ball out of the end zone. Instead of the 1, the Lions will start from their own 20. Here on Fox Sports, game 1 of the National League Championship Series as the St. Louis Cardinals take on the Atlanta Braves. That's Wednesday night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox. Mitchell faked the handoff to Sanders, and a wide open Brent Perriman forced out by Darnell Walker after a gain of 23 yards.
Darnell Walker has been picked on quite a bit the last few weeks. I think he's been criticized for playing a little bit too soft, and I know June Jones expressed to us the other night that he felt he should make some plays that he was in position to make. That time, Perriman does a nice job of running him off. And on that comeback, as soon as they see the cornerback's hips turn and see him run deep, then he's just going to break it up. That's his gauge on when to come back for the ball.
And Walker has also been whistled on 4 pass interference calls this year. Quick slant to the tight end, Pete Metzelaars, former teammate of yours in Buffalo.
And Metzelaars has got quite a streak going as far as playing games. 2 more games. He will have played more games than any NFL tight end. He'll pass up Rodney Holman, who played right here in Detroit.
And Metzelaars, a native of Michigan, attended Portage Central High School.
Yeah, now Pete's in for Sloan, a guy who they really had a lot of plans for. He got hurt. And, you know, Pete has been looked at as a run-type blocker. Not necessarily effective in the past, but he was there.
So a first down following the 13-yard gain, and now the Lions keep it on the ground with Barry Sanders. Slow start for both quarterbacks, Ron, both Scott Mitchell and Bobby Hebert.
I think Hebert's still getting a little of that rust off. You know, he told us last night that he felt like hey, I'm a backup quarterback. I've been in the league a long time. I think I can kind of turn it on, turn it off. And you know, with that first drive in San Francisco, he did some good things, but then the bad things happened. He had the turnovers and all that.
Now on second down, Mitchell, and it is off the fingertips of the intended receiver, Johnny Morton. You can see the tattoo on Morton's right arm, the Dennis Rodman of the NFL, perhaps, with body piercing and tattoos.
That stuff looks good, but you know, Johnny, that ball's a little bit, actually it's a lot thrown behind him. Mitchell's not in sync. He's not on. They brought the corner again. They brought Micaiah inside. And this is whenever Mitchell's been like this, you know, he had help the series before the punt return. But he's struggling so far.
And he's under pressure here. Steps up, a wobbly pass. And the pressure forced Mitchell to throw it away.
Atlanta's defensive line is very small. Detroit has some nice size. They don't think that they can match up and get home just with the front guys, so they're going to bring the corner. They can get some extra help. And whenever you can get your quarterback to step up like that fast off of his drop back, you're going to have some good things happen to you defensively. Chucky Smith right there coming on the outside. He moves over and actually takes Dolman's place on the opposite side of the field this year.
Mark Royals punting from midfield, and Metcalf gets back to the 20-yard line. Brad Ford made the stop. 30-yard punt, 9-yard return. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Detroit Lions and the National Football League is prohibited.
See, that's what we mean by not putting the game too much in Scott Mitchell's hands. And when he gets off bad, they stay bad.
How about the Falcons? First 3 possessions, 3 and out, 4 and out.
Talk about getting off bad. Even with that big 15-yard roughing the passer penalty, they weren't able to make anything happen.
No, that didn't help. Jamal Anderson now in the game at fullback as Hebert hits the tight end, Mitch Lyons, and the first completion of the afternoon for Bobby Hebert.
Jamal Anderson there. Talking about his stiff arm, and you know, when you could stiff arm a guy like John Randall, then you've got your stiff arm down pretty well. He says he's been using it since 9th grade, so actually since he was 9 years old in Little League football.
9 years old, he stiff armed 3 guys on 1 play at the age of 9. Second down and 7 following the 3-yard completion to Lyons. Here's Anderson, and he is stopped. Henry Thomas, the longtime Minnesota Viking and the Lions' defensive most valuable player a year ago.
That's why you have to double team Hank at all times. There he is right there. When he's cocked in like that, it's hard to get to him. And they have a double team on him. He beats the double team. They're trying to run the draw. The offensive linemen are trying to get upfield and block. Well, you talk about a guy that has been doing it for a long time. 10th year in the league, and is a smart player. They say Hank Thomas can tell you when the wide receivers are split farther than normal. He sees everything on the field, not just the guy in front of him.
And now the Falcons going with the 4 wide receivers on 3rd and long, and Terrence Mathis could not hold on. Double coverage on the play. Brad Ford in the vicinity, and the Falcons will be forced to punt.
Drop balls, miscues, you know, the little fundamental things that have to be done. Talking to June Jones right before the game, he says, we need some plays today. We need some big plays today.
Big
now
play earlier, like Lynn Milburn.
Now they got to kick back to this guy. And like I said, the key for his success is that they block the guys coming down the field, the flyers. He's got to have room to catch the ball and see.
4th punt of this first quarter by Straczynski. Good hang time. And Milburn calls for a fair catch.
That's why.
Elbert Shelley in his face.
When that guy right there, and he's been injured the last few weeks, when he gets it going, he has been in the Pro Bowl time after time. And now why would you single cover Elbert Shelley? Elbert Shelley's a lot faster than he looks. They bring another guy late to pick him up. But the bottom line is he gets in Milburn's face and forces the fair catch. I remember lining up on him his first year in the league, and I looked at him. I said, there's no way this big guy's going to run by me. 15 yards down the field, I'm reading his name on the back of his jersey.
Here's Sanders, his second catch of the day, and Elbert Shelley, a 4-time Pro Bowler, yet he has never started a game on defense.
Kind of reminds you of Steve Tasker, although Tasker has gotten into the game now for the Buffalo Bills at wide receiver. But yeah, that shows you, and it's amazing that you can keep a guy like this anymore with the way free agency is. There's just not a lot of depth. You have the salary cap. You can't afford to pay backup players that kind of money anymore to keep them. But somehow the Falcons have managed to keep him through restructuring contracts.
Half minute to go in this opening quarter as Johnny Morton had it knocked away at the last instant. Devin Bush, second-year man out of Florida State, on the coverage.
They're just trying to bring Morton down the field and up to the outside corner. Good job of coverage here. Bush coming off the hash. You know, you get a safety and you talk about what the qualities of your safeties are. Well, they got to be able to come off the hash mark, break on the ball. They call that range. Of course, that ball's a little high. It needs to be lower and to the sideline more. But that's a guy that they are looking for some big things out of.
Now Mitchell on 3rd and 8, airs it out, looking for more. Yeah. And a flag. Lenny McGill.
Lenny McGill didn't have to do that. I think he panicked because that ball was uncatchable. And I think that's what they're discussing right now. Maybe not.
Pass interference, number 28, defense. Automatic first down.
The ball was totally uncatchable. Herman was not going to get this ball. Now, McGill's got no help inside. Right here, he panics. I want you to watch where the ball drops. I don't think Herman's going to get that ball. It looks a little long. Watch the protection. When you give a quarterback and a receiver time to run 40 yards, 45 yards down the field, you got to give the credit to the offensive line.
So the Lions gain 40 yards on the penalty call, and Barry Sanders works his way up to the 20. Devin Bush on the stop, 7-yard gain.
Once again, another penalty, another great play helps Detroit get down into the scoring zone.
Yes, 40 yards on the pass interference called on McGill. Lions inside the red zone as the first quarter comes to an end with Detroit on top 7-0. We'll be back from the Silverdome in just a moment. 40-yard punt return for the Lions by Glenn Milburn, and the 40-yard pass interference call just moments ago.
I think that's been a good thing for Detroit because I really think Mitchell is struggling. And he's making some passes. They're not getting there. Thank goodness for the pass interference right there. And once again, it puts him back down in the scoring zone where Atlanta's had trouble.
So now the team switch ends. First play of the second quarter. 2nd down and 3 on the Falcons 20. Sanders cuts to the right. 15, 10, finally pulled down. Devin Bush, the last line of defense for the Falcons, a gain of 12.
No 2 men tackle Barry Sanders. He always makes the first guys miss, and that's right. They love him here in Detroit for good reason. Here's why. Patrick Bates is going to have a clear shot on him. He almost broke Bates' leg. And then he almost gets out of 3 guys here. You know, you have to appreciate a guy that continues to do it 8 years in a row. Possibility of 1,000-yard season.
And how about that?
They got to him that time. Jesse Tuggle,
the hammer, and Dan Owens. They call Jesse Tuggle the human tackling machine.
First of all, watch how low he gets. Barry knows he didn't have a chance on that one.
Lost a yard. Jesse Tuggle has led the Falcons in tackling the last 7 seasons. He told us yesterday, if you stop Barry, you can stop anybody. Mitchell to the end zone. Touchdown, Brett Perriman. So Tuggle stops Sanders, but on the next play, Mitchell to Perriman from 9 yards out. Perriman's 3rd touchdown of the season.
That looked so easy. It almost looked like there was a coverage breakdown, like Darnell Walker thought he had help inside. I mean, it doesn't get, here it is right here. Perriman's going to come up and come across the middle and catch the ball right there. But watch the safety. And the way, see, Walker, he's playing like he does, he's got help in there. And then he bites on the outside fake. And that got him too.
Jason Hanson. And the Lions' lead is now 14-0. 3rd reception of the day for Perriman. And this one is good for 6. 6-play drive. Lions lead by 14.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Ford Taurus, a look you've never seen from a name you know well. By Dockers Khakis, hey, nice pants. By the United States Marine Corps, the change is forever. And by Wendy's and the new bigger, plumper grilled chicken breast filet sandwich. Try one today.
Yeah, looking at that play again there on replay, Perriman just put a nice juke move on Darnell Walker. I mean, it was classic.
14-0 lead for the Lions. And the key play during that drive, the pass interference call on Lenny McGill. Here's Eric Metcalf. Metcalf to the outside. Whoa, penalty flag. Flag was thrown. Metcalf forced out at midfield. Flag back at the 32-yard line. 55-yard return. He was finally forced out by Ryan Stewart.
Illegal block. Number 56 on the return. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Illegal block called on Scott Fields, rookie linebacker out of USC.
Now he has the unenviable task of trying to explain to the coach that you didn't do it.
Another key Falcons penalty.
Right there. 56 on 24. And that's a valid call. He hits him in the back. You can read the numbers, don't hit him. Now here's the touchdown. Watch the fake that Perriman puts on Walker right here. You see Walker jump outside, it's over. I think Devin Bush is inside to possibly help, but still Walker's got to be a little bit closer to him.
So instead of starting out from midfield, the Falcons on their own 22. 28-yard difference following the penalty as Hebert's pass is complete. Roel Preston, and that's the first completion to a wide receiver by Hebert today. Hebert, of course, replacing the suspended Jeff George. This is the second of his 4-game suspension. And when you look at the Falcons' offensive weapons, both J.J. Burden and Burt Emanuel out with injuries, replaced by Preston and Tyrone Brown.
We said in the beginning of the game that the players, I don't think that they miss Jeff George at all, but whether they need him is a totally different thing.
2nd down and 3. 4 wide receivers. Hebert looking, finds a receiver. It's Mathis. Close to a first down. And in case you missed Fox NFL Sunday's pregame show, James Brown reporting that, of course, the Seattle Seahawks, one of the teams we have heard interested in Jeff George and a possible deal for Rick Meyer. And the Seahawks have supposedly offered a 6-year, $30 million deal. But George is reluctant to go to Seattle. He wants to play for the Oakland Raiders and sign a short-term deal. There has been talk of a trade for defensive tackle Chester McLaughlin. That's who the Falcons want. But the Raiders could hold out until the trade deadline Tuesday at 4 p.m. Wait and see if the Falcons release Jeff George. The Falcons, on the other hand, could say, no, we're not releasing you. We're not going to let you go where you want to go, as the catch is made by Tyrone Brown. Falcons could say, hey, we'll let you sit and suffer. Why should you be happy and go play for the team that you'd like to play for?
Well, I think Atlanta is in a position where they really want to try to get something for him. But after the trade deadline, nothing's happened. I wouldn't be surprised if they cut him.
They were offered a first-round draft pick by the Rams, but did not want to work a deal within their division.
I mean, that's, you know, don't think the suspension means anything in terms of him coming back. I think he's gone for sure, and they just wanted to use the time to shop him around and possibly get a trade.
Falcons keep it on the ground as Jamal Anderson is stopped by Waldrop. And right now for a McDonald's game break, James Brown at our Fox Television Center.
Kenny, we mentioned that Chris Carter, the Vikings, 2 touchdowns shy of 70 for his career. Make it 1 as Warren Moon finds him in the end zone. Vikings on top, 7-0 over Carolina. Back to Detroit, Kenny Albert and Ron Pitts.
Thanks, JB. The Vikings, along with the Packers, 4-1. One game in front of the 3-2 Lions in the NFC Central.
With Tamanga Biakabatuka out for the season, I think Carolina is going to have a rough time of it, especially trying to run the ball.
Flag thrown, and Anderson, wow, he makes the catch, pulls it in, but a flag on the play. He stiff-armed the football.
That's a good one. I like that. He stiff-armed the football.
But it looks to be coming back. He did. I mean, he just stiff-armed the ball, grabbed the ball, palming it like a basketball, and pulled it in, right?
Well, you know, I look at this guy's thighs. I haven't seen thighs like this since Earl Campbell. I mean, you're talking about a big man. Ronnie Lott.
Illegal motion, number 32, offense. 5-yard penalty.
Illegal motion.
Yeah, that's Jamal.
Falcons have been killed by penalties. The 40-yard pass interference, the 28-yard penalty on the kickoff, and now this. Although officially the 28-yarder counts as a 10-yard penalty because of the spot at which the infraction took place, but they did lose 28 yards from where they would have started out. So now it's a 3rd down and 6 with the Falcons trailing 14-0. 4 wide receivers, Metcalf in motion, then heads back the other way. Hebert airing it out, looking for Mathis. He dove but could not get his hands on it. Brad Ford on the coverage, and the Falcons will be forced to punt for the 5th time.
Remember, we talked about how Detroit, with June Jones being here when they were running the run and shoot, they know how to defend it. The way you beat it, you got to go man-to-man across the board. Match up people, and that's what they do. It's man-to-man coverage everywhere. When a run and shoot team can get you in zone, now they can use those little quick guys to find the holes in the zone. But if you can match up man-to-man, you can have success. And Detroit's got a pretty good, darn good pass rush up front to go along with it. Wow, he gave it the alligator arm, fair catch.
And it has been a very busy afternoon for Glenn Milburn. 46-yard punt by Straczynski. And the Lions, with the 14-0 lead, will take over when we return from Pontiac.
Does something here I want you to watch. The ball's in the air, but he's looking at the coverage. Good punt returners there again. See, he's looking at the coverage. This guy is taking his eye off the ball while it's in midair and looking to see if he can run the ball, checking the coverage out. That's confidence.
And Barry Sanders on 1st down, cuts back to the inside, gains perhaps 1 yard.
Talking to Barry a couple weeks ago, he said, now more than ever, I'm beginning to get a sense of urgency about making it to the Super Bowl. You know, coming into this season, his 8th season, no doubt he's had tremendous success, but he doesn't have that one thing, that one ring. And he said, now I really think about it a lot. Before, I was more concerned about the team and how I was doing personally and playing well, but now I'm starting to think of the big picture. And Super Bowl is big picture.
Merriman makes the catch, his 4th, and of course, last year, the tough loss in the 1st round of the playoffs, the Philadelphia Eagles, 58-37. And Ron, next week it's a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader when the Cardinals battle the Cowboys. The Eagles take on the Giants in 2 key NFC East matchups, plus other exciting regional action. It all begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. So check local listings for the game and time in your area. 3rd down and 3 now. Movement on the line, and penalty markers thrown everywhere.
Travis Hall there. Travis Hall, the guy who's won.
One of only 5 Alaskans ever to play in the NFL.
Neutral zone infraction, number 98.
And the first Alaskan to be called for a penalty here today.
First down.
You want to talk about living out in the boonies. He's from a town 150 miles from Anchorage, Alaska.
And you know, Shane Bonham, who replaced Luther Ellis, went to high school in Alaska. So we have 2 Alaskans in today's game. There's Bonham. He doesn't look like an Alaskan, does he?
See, Bonham is just trying to keep up with everybody else in the group there. Here, Henry Thomas shaved his head. Forsythe shaved his head, so now he's going to shave his head.
Short gain on the carry by Barry Sanders. 9 carries, 28 yards on the game today, but he's the type of guy, Ron, as you all know, who could break the big one at any moment. You know, he'll lose yardage on a couple of plays, gain 1, 2 here and there, and all of a sudden go for 40.
And that's the difference with this team, I think, this year. They're starting to use Herman and Perriman, and they're getting the ball to Johnny Morton. They're starting to use the weapons more.
Here's Mitchell. He faked the handoff and another overthrown ball.
Now, see, there's the same play, basically, that Lenny McGill had on Herman Moore. But, see, that time, Darnell Walker didn't panic. He stayed on the outside shoulder and didn't hit the receiver. He didn't panic and try to go for the strip and get the interference. Perriman's just going to come up the field and go into the post. See, Darnell Walker, he doesn't take the fake again like he did in the end zone, but he doesn't panic. He stays there and plays it cool.
And that leads to a 3rd and 11. Mitchell 7 of 15 on the afternoon with 1 touchdown pass and 1 rushing touchdown. And he calls timeout. So the Lions call their first timeout. And our Aflac trivia question for this afternoon's game: how many former USFL players are still active in the NFL? How many former United States Football League players are still active in the National Football League?
Talking about with Shane Bonham trying to keep consistent with the bald head look. You know, you got Hank Thomas there and Kerwin Waldrop. So Bonham, he said, okay, I'm going to get my head shaved too.
Join the club. 3rd and 11. Here's Mitchell. And the pass is complete. It's a first down out across the 40 to the 44-yard line, as Brett Perriman makes his 5th reception of the afternoon.
Well, Perriman is just working Darnell Walker, and the reason for it, I think he's giving him a lot of credit. You see Darnell Walker get high right there. He started to reach up in his back pedal. All that means is when it's time to break down and come forward, you're out of balance, you're out of sync. He had to take those extra steps.
Here's Sanders on the delay. And he is taken down at the 48-yard line. Lester Archambault after the gain of 4. Midway through this second quarter from Pontiac, Michigan, where the Lions lead the Falcons 14-0. And last year at the Georgia Dome, Atlanta took a 27-0 lead and defeated Detroit 34-22. Following that game, Wayne Fontes was given the playoff or else ultimatum from ownership. They did not lose again until the playoffs, as Perriman could not hang on. Following the loss to the Falcons, they feel that was the turning point. They went on to win their final 7 regular season games. In fact, they are 10-2 since that point, as Wayne Fontes, 3rd in tenure among current NFL head coaches, behind only Jim Mora and Marv Levy.
Well, this is a chance for this team this year to get up to what they call a good start. I mean, coming in 3-2, and a reason for them not getting good starts in the past, I think it has to do with training camp. You know, Wayne doesn't necessarily kill his guys in camp, and they don't play a lot in the preseason, so it takes them 2 or 3 games in the regular season for the veterans to get up to full speed.
Mitchell on 3rd and 7, over the top. Morton once again inside the 30. So it has been the Brett Perriman and Johnny Morton show so far today, as Herman Moore, the leading receiver in the NFL, has not yet made a catch, but this time it's Morton for 25 yards.
That's Morton there, and it looks like they're not getting enough wide receiver or linebacker depth, and they're doing a good job of finding the holes. They're making it look so easy against this team, and one weakness coming into this game, Mitchell thought, was probably their secondary and their man-to-man cover.
On first down, Sanders to the outside. 3-yard gain. Lenny McGill forced him out. Well, Ron, Herman Moore, Johnny Morton, Brett Perriman, terrific job over the last 2 games, both victories.
And I think the guy that's made the difference this year, Johnny Morton, because Johnny Morton was really upset about being an inside receiver coming in this package. You know, coming out of SC, he was an outside guy, and your outside guy is your big play guy, your vertical guy, down the field bomb type deal. Inside, he had to run the quick little option routes. He wasn't comfortable with that. They changed some things, and he's happier for it.
Mitchell escapes, spins away from the pressure. And, you know, Johnny Morton was very upset. Only 1 catch the first 2 weeks. And he came out in the media and said, hey, why don't they give me number 84, then maybe Scott Mitchell will throw my way.
And he had a valid argument because Scott has a habit of staring a hole in where he wants to throw. He's still doing it now. I mean, it's 14-0. They're in command, but he's had some things that help him to put him down in that scoring area.
And Johnny, of course, referring to Herman Moore's number.
Right.
Uniform number 84. 3rd down and 7. Under 6 minutes to go, first half. Lions ahead of the Falcons 14-0. Mitchell looking for more. Makes the catch. What a catch and a touchdown. He beats the double coverage. Lenny McGill and Devin Bush both in the vicinity, and Herman Moore able to make the catch. Took a hit, came in with that tender shoulder, and he is into the end zone for touchdown number 4 of the season.
That's one of the advantages of having a guy 6'4". It's hard to miss him, and when he jumps, he's even taller than that. And there he shows his toughness, because we know Herman Moore has that right shoulder been hurt. There he takes a hit and holds on.
Wayne Fonz told us yesterday, Herman Moore finds ways to play. He did not practice all week. His first reception today, 11-play, 82-yard drive, culminating with this. Mitchell to Moore from 25.
Oh. Saw him take that hit, and in the end zone, he was in some pain.
The hit was well worth it. Another touchdown for the Lions.
Yeah.
As they've run up 21 points in this first half against a Falcons defense, which has allowed an NFL high 31 points per game. Falcons have punted on all 5 of their possessions, and Metcalf does not even think about coming out of the end zone.
I want you to watch a free safety here. That's Devin Bush. Now, he's going to get looked off, and all good quarterbacks know how to do that. He's going to look in this direction, and watch what it does to Bush. See, he takes that 2 steps right there. If he doesn't take that step and a half, he might intercept the ball or make a collision. This is what you call using your body against the defensive back. You see the way Moore gets his body in between the ball and Lenny McGill? Lenny McGill had great coverage, but Moore is 6'4". This is what you call giving up for the program there.
Now the Falcons, who have punted 5 times in this first half, go to work from the 20. Hebert to the far side and has a receiver and the first down.
Roel Preston right there making the catch. There's Herman. They're working on him. He actually hurt that shoulder in the beginning, in the opener, the first game of the season. It's been bothering him. He's got a deep shoulder bruise.
$16 yards on the pass play. Hebert to Preston, setting up first down on the 36 with Metcalf in motion. Hebert rolling right, dumps it off, and Anderson this time unable to stiff arm the football.
Yeah, they took away the screen, and the way they did it, the defensive linemen have to attack from the backside. That's what people worry about from a screen. They're going to run the screen to this side. Watch what these guys do. They snip the screen out early, and then they chase it down. See, there's Hank Thomas. Hank Thomas has got a beat on the screen before anybody. He breaks the whole thing up by recognition and going to the play.
Yes, only 30 passing yards for the Falcons. Lions 1:35 in this first half, and they lead 21-0. Hebert got the pass off, and he took another hit. Took the hit from Bonham. And Ron, the answer to our Aflac trivia question: how many former USFL players still active in the NFL? 19, including Bobby Hebert, the Falcons quarterback, who led the Michigan Panthers to the 1983 USFL championship. Michigan Panthers home stadium right here, the Silver Dome. So Bobby Hebert had huge success here in Pontiac over a decade ago, and 19 USFL players, including Steve Young, Jim Kelly, Herschel Walker, Reggie White. Bobby Hebert still active in the NFL. High snap, Hebert in trouble.
How are they going to call that one?
Kerwin Waldrop,
the
rookie out of Central State, along with Bonham.
Yeah, you know, at what point do they call in the grasp? You know, Hebert's not had great protection here so far in the first half. And there's great coverage down the field. You got Jamal Anderson stepping in. You know, he's wrapped up there. To me, that's in the grasp. I mean, that ball, that should be a sack.
Sixth Straczynski punt. Wilburn looking to work his magic once again. 47-yard punt by Straczynski. He's been the picture of consistency here today. 6 punts, 4 of them went for 46 yards. 1 for 45, and this one 47. 6 possessions for the Falcons, 6 punts.
You know, well, you hate to get back on that wagon and say, well, it's Jeff George. You know, nobody on the Falcon team believes that.
Meanwhile, for the Lions, 5 possessions, 3 touchdowns. That has been the difference. Harry Sanders up the middle after the 32. 5-yard gain. Ron, every parent wants to protect their children, but what if you suspected one of yours was a cold-blooded killer? Judith Light and Roseanne's Johnny Galecki star in Murder at My Door, a world premiere movie, Tuesday at 8, 7 Central, right here on Fox.
Speaking of murder, this is murder going on the field so far.
And the Lions are guilty. Pete Metzelar's his second reception of the afternoon.
There's a couple doors in the Silver Dome for murder, huh?
Well,
did they walk the Falcons down that way? Did they come in this way?
They'll be going out that way.
They'll be going out that way.
That one does not look too enticing.
Look at this door. I wonder what happens to those seats up there. There's nobody up there.
Where was that door? Next to the scoreboard? Sanders alluding to the tackle. And how about that? Is that for the scoreboard guy?
You know,
I mean, at Wrigley Field, they have to put up the numbers manually, but not here. Who needs to go in that door?
You got a couple guys there. The only problem, when you sit up by that door, they can't see the monitor. You know, I mean, they get to see the field real well, but they never get to see the replay because they're sitting underneath the door. That guy might as well stay home and watch it on TV because he never gets to see a replay. He'll break his neck trying to look at it.
Here's Brett Perriman. Outstanding first half for Perriman. Across midfield, his 6th catch, and it's good for 11 yards. Is that door locked, Ron?
It looked like it was locked. I don't know why. I wonder what's in there. Some guy could get in there. But see, these people right here, they never see the replay. They don't even care to see the replay. They just figure, okay, we're not going to see it. That's the only monitor in the stands, in the stadium. That guy there looks excited. Getting wax out of his ear. 21-0. What are you going to do? Get wax out of your ear?
Oh, and how about this? Some trickery from Wayne Fonts. Herman Moore makes the catch and the touchdown. The flea flicker. Mitchell to Sanders. Back to Mitchell to Herman Moore. 50 yards.
See, that's why that guy was up there bored, pulling wax out of his ear. He knew Atlanta wasn't going to be able to stop this play. That's what happens when you're running Barry Sanders.
Now they're excited.
Yeah, now they're fired up. Yeah. Hey, life's good underneath the Ford sign in the Silverdome. Just scored on a flea flicker. What could be better?
How about Scott Mitchell's first half? 3 touchdown passes, 1 touchdown run. Herman Moore, 50 yards, 28-0.
There's Lenny McGill. Now, there's McGill here. There's Herman Moore. Watch the defense when they see that Barry Sanders has the football. I mean, they all come. Look at that. Patrick Bates actually sees the play. He sniffs it out, but it's too late. McGill was totally fooled by the handoff to Barry Sanders.
Tough day for McGill. 40-yard pass interference call earlier on Herman Moore. And now beaten by Moore for the score. Eric Metcalf. Flags on the play. Metcalf hit head on. What a hit. And he is shaken up. Eric Metcalf still down.
That is about the hardest hit I've ever seen Eric Metcalf take. And the fact he got his legs bent underneath him, that's the scariest part about it.
It was Ron Rivers who came together with Metcalf following the 22-yard return.
Yeah, and if I'm Frank Gantz, I'm definitely going to be worried. There's my hot shot, my star guy, laying out in the turf. Boy, they're looking down low. It looked as though he got his legs bent underneath and then took a shot up high. You know, a guy like Metcalf is so good at eluding people. He's so quick. He's so fast. People don't get good shots on him.
Eric Metcalf coming into the game leading the NFL in combined yardage, in all-purpose yards.
We have 2 fouls.
He's a guy who Wayne Fonts and the Lions tried to trade for.
Illegal block.
Lions were very interested in Metcalf when he was dealt
Personal
from
foul,
the Browns to the
unnecessary
Falcons.
roughness on number 38, kicking team. Penalties offset by
Offsetting
rule.
penalties
First down.
as Metcalf walks it off.
You saw the way Frank Gantz was looking at the Polaroids. Those are actually pictures of what just happened on that play. I mean, they can get them out within seconds. So now he can coach the guys up on who missed the block, who did what. Whenever a guy gets a shot on him that good, somebody missed the block and let a defender run free.
Freddie Scott has replaced Eric Metcalf. We'll tell you a little bit about Scott later. His father, a former Detroit Lion. Draw play, Anderson takes the handoff. There's the stiff arm. And he is out of bounds at the 25. Run coming up, the Dockers Khakis halftime report. JB and Terry will bring you scores and highlights from around the National Football League, plus Fox NFL Sunday's Choice Cuts featuring the best plays of the NFL from last week. That's all coming up on the Dockers Khakis halftime. 1:43 to go. Long way to go for the Falcons, who trail 28-0. Second down and 4. Hebert to the far side, and it stays in bounds. Roel Preston on the reception, and Brad Ford is shaken up. Lion defensive back. We mentioned Freddie Scott, the wide receiver in the game now, replacing Eric Metcalf. His father, Fred Sr., Lions leading receiver from 1979 through 81. And he also spent some time with the Baltimore Colts. There is Fred Scott Sr., who played all the way up until 1984 in the USFL. In fact, he caught a touchdown pass from Steve Young with the Los Angeles Express in a game against the Michigan Panthers when the Panthers quarterback was Bobby Hebert. Now 12 years later, Fred Scott Jr. is on the receiving end of Bobby Hebert offerings. And the first time they met, Freddie Scott, you know, he knew his father played against Hebert.
Right.
He went up to him and said, "Hi, Mr. Hebert."
Mr. Hebert.
He said, "Call me Bobby."
Well, that's scary when guys that were playing hide and go seek in the Silverdome when you were a player start coming up to you and taking snap counts from you. Like, it makes you think twice about how long you got to play in the league, I tell you. You know, interesting as we see Brad Ford, safety for Detroit, come off. Interesting thing just happened there. Detroit was charged a timeout. New rule, inside 2 minutes, an injury occurs, your team will be charged a timeout.
So they are down to 1. Mitchell called timeout earlier. Brad Ford heads off, rookie from Alabama. He had been suffering from an ankle injury. So it's first down and 10 for the Falcons from the 35, and dominating numbers offensively for the Lions here in the first half. 202 yards in the air, 3 touchdowns. Hebert to Scott, the native of Detroit, Freddie Scott, and what a thrill that must be. Rookie out of Penn State, his 2nd career reception, and he does it here at home, where, as you mentioned, he used to play hide and go seek when he came to practice with his dad.
It's funny that Mr. Clay Ford Jr. Gave him a contract, a little fake contract, when he was, what, 9-10 years old. He said he never knew it'd turn into a real one someday. And here's his team, but
here's Preston, and with Scott in the lineup as the Falcons call timeout, you know, you talk about the run and shoot. They now have a rookie and 2 second-year guys in there. Preston, Brown, and Scott.
Still trying to get some of that rust off and get back into the flow.
Falcons with 2 timeouts remaining, off the fingertips of Tyrone Brown.
You know, and the thing I've noticed today, they are putting hits on Bobby Hebert. You know, he is not getting the best protection he's ever had. And the amazing thing about that, this team, Atlanta, they throw off a 3-step drop. It's hard to get to the quarterback, but yet they're in his face.
49 seconds to go. First half, 28-0 Detroit lead. Hebert to the near side, and a good defensive play. Corey Raymond stepping in front of Tyrone Brown. Kerwin Waldrop lost his helmet on the play, if we can take a look at number 93.
Now, Hebert is in the shotgun. He takes 3 steps back after that. And Dave Richards is just getting killed on the backside there. Robert Porcher again beating him on the outside corner. Waldrop, he got so excited about the thing, he lost his head. Lost his helmet. I wonder if Dave Richards, the right tackle, is 100% healthy. Because Porcher has not come around the corner in anybody that good all season so far.
Hebert spins and then fires. Has the completion. It's Preston motoring to the sidelines, out of bounds at the 30. So with 35 seconds to go, the Falcons working their way downfield.
Like you said, Roy, Preston doing a good job of getting out of bounds after the catch. Well, Preston, there he is at the top. It's just a little hitch. And they're trying to run the screen. They do. Zandowski goes out, gets a good block. Richards gets a pretty good block.
Preston with 5 receptions in this first half, doing a nice job filling in. High snap. Hebert under pressure from Porcher. Tyrone Brown racing for the sidelines. 28 seconds to go.
Okay, now here Tyrone Brown. He comes up with a little bit of a limp. Lions do a better job that time of getting to the screen, getting penetration, beating the lineman out to the blocking. That's Bert Emanuel right there. He went down. He pulled that hamstring in the first series of the San Francisco game.
And you mentioned Brown limping. That's it. I mean, they only have 4 healthy receivers because they have the 7 on the roster. Emmanuel, Burden, and now Metcalf out. So they only have 4 guys. They're all in the game. Jamal Anderson on the handoff up the middle, still on his feet. Finally taken down inside the 10, and Bobby Hebert calls the Falcons' second timeout. with 19 seconds remaining.
The key to running that play, you got to get a block on this man right here, Hank Thomas. They double team him, and then Roman Fortin does a good job of standing him off.
14-yard gain for Anderson. There's no quit in the Falcons, putting together an impressive drive despite trailing 28-0.
I mean, you're down 28-0. Obviously, it looks very, very bad. But with a run and shoot offense, even though they're not running it anywhere near to where they would like to run it, you're never out of the game. What they need here, for sure, is 7 points. And then they got to get their heads up. That's Devin Bush there. You know, you got to keep playing the game. This is one team in the NFL right now that does not need to keep feeling sorry for themselves. And what's over is over. The Jeff George thing, you know, he's on suspension, but for all intents and purposes, he's gone. He won't be there. They need to start looking ahead. They need to get their focus, refocus, and get themselves back into the football mode.
Falcons staring at 0-5. 10th play of this drive. First and goal. Hebert. And it is incomplete. Brown felt he was interfered with by Richard Woodley, but no flags. Now 14 seconds to go.
I see the way his jersey's pulled over his pads, and maybe there was some pulling and tugging going on. Brown wants to start here and then cue back out. You see, yeah, I would say so. That's just a little bit of holding. It's all fair if they don't see it. That's what Richard Woodley believes anyway.
And that's what you believe during your career with the Packers and the Bills.
I also believe this drive, 10 plays, 72 yards. That's the best thing that's happened in Atlanta so far.
Hebert hands it off to Anderson, and he is in for the touchdown. Jamal Anderson from 9 yards out. His first trip to the end zone this season, and the Falcons are finally on the scoreboard.
We talked about the run. We talked about the pass was one thing and a run and shoot, but you got to stop that guy. He leads the NFL in yards per average. Look at the blocking. They get Henry Thomas blocked. That's the key. And now you're not going to bring down Jamal Anderson before he gets in the end zone.
Jamal says it's embarrassing to be tackled by just one opponent, so it'll take more than one guy.
And he said if it's a DB, no way. He said I'll take myself off the field if a DB tackles me one-on-one.
Morton Anderson on the point after. So the first rushing touchdown this season for the Atlanta Falcons. And it is now 28-7 in favor of the Lions.
And you know, the thing about these guys got the best of both worlds. They got two huge fullbacks running the ball. I mean, you thought that after Hayward, there could be no more guys like that come around. There couldn't be another nightmare. And then here this guy comes. And the thing about him is that he's got that attitude. You know, he's kind of a competitive, mean guy that wants to play hard out in the football field. He doesn't mind running over DBs and then getting up and talking about it. Last week against the 49ers, he and Ken Norton Jr. went after it all day long.
So the Falcons, who put together on only 43 yards total on their first 6 drives, all ending in punts, go 81 on 11 plays.
And like I said, that's the first good thing that happened to this team. And I think it started with the screens. They came back and ran what's been good against Detroit in the past. The outside quick screens to the wide receivers. And then they got the run going.
7 seconds remaining in this first half as Morton Anderson, who extended his streak with the point after to 195 consecutive games with a point. That is an NFL record dating all the way back to 1983. Falcons would like the half to end as the Lions have some trouble with it. Finally scooped up Ron Rivers, and he is thrown out of bounds as the first half comes to an end. The Lions offense very impressive. They lead the Falcons 28-7. JB, Terry, Howie, and Ronnie along. Lions all over the Falcons 28-7 as we return to the Silverdome. Kenny Albert along with Ron Pitts, and Ron, a big first half for the Lions offense.
Yeah, but I can't say that it's been because of Scott Mitchell. I don't think he's gotten off to a real good start. He had some help. They had a big penalty and then the Glenn Milburn return on the punt. So that's put them in scoring position. Barry, he's got 40 yards. He's doing okay. He's had some big runs when they needed it. But I think the difference has been they've got some help. You look at the stats here. This is the first thing that jumps out in my mind. And they talked about how they felt they could move the ball on Atlanta's secondary, and they're doing that. And then this is killing the Falcons. The penalties. We saw it earlier, and it's starting to take a toll. This is the touchdown to Perryman, and watch the reaction there by Darnell Walker. He jumps outside, and those are the things that are just too easy to give up. You have to play better than that. And now the flea flicker. Bates right in front of you, 24. He realizes it, but it's hard for him to make up that much ground. Lenny McGill, 28, completely fooled on the play. They gave the ball to Barry Sanders. It's easy to get fooled in a situation like that. Mitchell's always spread the ball around the last couple weeks. He's doing it today. In spite of getting great field position, he's been able to work everybody. He's just not seeing one guy. And that's the complaint of all three of these guys at one time or another, especially Johnny Morton. We're not seeing everybody on the field. Well, he's seeing everybody now. Talk about what's inside Herman's head, huh?
Herman's inside his head. Herman Moore, 2 receptions, both for touchdowns. And Glenn Milburn with a 33-yard punt return earlier, setting up the first Lions score. Scott Mitchell, 3 touchdown passes. He also ran one in, which opened the scoring. And Morton Anderson opens the second half with a very short kickoff.
That ball is live.
Takes a
now,
bounce.
if he falls on, that's a touchdown. Now it's a touchback. Smart move, first of all, by Frank Gantz, the special teams coach of Atlanta, to kick that ball like that. Another good move by 43, Duran Bolden, to run down there and try to get that ball. That was a live ball. If he can fall on it, see, they kick it in that no man's land, and then it takes a great bounce. Milburn was just going to pick it up.
Swatted it away from Bolden.
He trips right at the last minute. He falls on that ball. It's 6. And you talk about getting back in this game fast, that's what you have to do.
So now the Lions from their own 20, leading 28-7. 3 wide receivers. The handoff to Barry Sanders. Look at Barry run.
You wonder how a guy gets out of stuff like that. They come with the cutback play. They have Tony Simple, who's a backup left guard. He's starting at the right guard position. But watch his eyes. You see, before he even got the ball, Kenny, he cut his eyes back to the left. He's got what great backs all have, great vision. A little hold there on Ron George. He still makes the tackle. But he sees things that other people can't see. And that's why he can make his cuts. Plus, he's just got great ability physically.
First down for the Lions, 11-yard pickup. Mitchell to the air, looking for Herman Moore. He makes the catch, but he was out of bounds. Forced out by Lenny McGill.
You know what I like about that? Lenny McGill used the sideline as help. He used that sideline as an extra defender. See, he pushes him, pushes him, pushes him. He knows he's got no more room to work with. One foot comes down, and then he can't have enough room to get that other foot in. Good job of squeezing on the inside hip pocket. And not a bad throw by Mitchell. I mean, he has to make that throw because McGill was in the position he was in.
Mitchell. Here's Sanders. One of the best analogies, Ron, I've ever heard with regard to Barry Sanders is that trying to tackle Sanders is like trying to step on an ice cube. You ever try to step on an ice cube?
That's pretty close.
And here we see
here's
each
how
rush.
His runs are. You know, he doesn't get many of these zeros, okay? But you hold him, and then he gets this. Okay, then he gets another one of these. And not only are those big runs, the key thing, they're first downs. He moves the chains. And there's the ice cubes you're talking about. I got to believe stepping on those ice cubes would be easier.
What a job by our camera crew picking that up as Johnny Morton makes the catch on second down.
Boy, it's tough on everybody out there. The officials getting getting in the play there.
Check that. It was third down, so the Lions will punt.
You know, the main point here, look at this. Lions come out, they run buried. They don't get anything. They got to give the ball up. Atlanta should get this ball in fairly good field position.
Here's the punt from Royals. End over end. Metcalf, who was shaken up earlier. Good to see him back in the ball game here in the second half. 40-yard punt. 11-yard return. The tackle made by Richard Woodley. We'll be back from Pontiac.
Sunday is brought to you by Get on the Bus, a new film by Columbia Pictures at theaters October 16th. By the Principal Financial Group, for over a century, your edge in retirement, insurance, and investment products. By Degree, the body heat activated antiperspirant and deodorant. And by Craftsman 2200 hand tools, made in America, guaranteed forever.
Is that his living room, or is he actually in the Silverdome?
He's not even watching a game. He's more interested in reading the magazine, reading the game day program. I guess he figures the Lions have this one in hand, huh?
Well, they lead at 28-7, but to the Falcons, who put together an impressive drive to end quarter number 2, get off to a good start here as Jamal Anderson takes the handoff. And here we see the first half possessions, Ron. The Falcons punting the first 6 times they had the ball.
Worst part about that, this right here, 3 and outs. I mean, you get those going, and it's hard to get in the football game, but they have the TD at the end going in at halftime, which tells them, hey, we have a chance to make something happen. There's Miles Davis right there. People call him the guru of the run and shoot offense.
And Mouse, along with June Jones here in Detroit for Wayne Font's first 2 full seasons as Lions head coach. So Wayne certainly knows the system. Jamal Anderson up the middle has the first down. So I guess Jamal went to Craig Hayward and said, hey, now it's my turn. As they alternate at the fullback position.
Yeah, running that ball keeps him off balance, because when Bobby has to pass, he's getting crushed. You look at the 10 knockdowns, and you talk about the scrambling and all that, but the good thing here is it hasn't turned into this, and that's what it did last week, and that's what really killed him fast.
Assistant head coach John Tierlink of the Lions walks into practice every day and says to his group, what have you done today to get to the quarterback? Well, they've done it 10 times today. Catch is made by Tyrone Brown as he took a hard hit from Corey Raymond.
Well, what's helped Detroit, like we mentioned at halftime, was that they have had field position through big plays and through key penalties, and that's been the difference for them. Mitchell came out not on sync, not in sync at all. He overthrew some balls. He threw some balls in the dirt. We talked about how he had spread the ball around a lot better. In fact, Wayne Fonts told us that it got to a point where they had the chart where he was throwing the ball in practice to get him to spread around. And you see there, he's looking at the Polaroid, the picture of what Atlanta was in coverage-wise that was just run a series ago.
Hebert on 2nd and 4. And right now for a McDonald's game break, James Brown at the Fox Television Center.
Kenny and Ron, as we mentioned during the pregame show, Chris Carter needed 2 touchdowns for 70 in the career. There's the second one of the day. He got his 600th reception of his career. Big day for Carter. Vikings on top 14-0. That in the third. Back to Kenny Albert and snazzy Ron Pitts.
JB, that's my man.
Now, JB, Ron pointed out to me prior to the game that he nearly wore the same tie as Ronnie Lott, but changed at the last minute.
Yeah, I came and got to the stadium and saw the pregame and saw that Ronnie Lott had my tie on, so I had to make a quick change.
Atlanta 1 of 7 on 3rd down, make it 1 of 8 as Hebert lost the football. But Dave Richards, the former Lion, the right tackle, able to fall on it. And Hebert is shaken up once again.
Boy, Bobby Hebert is mad. We talked about that right side. Porsche again running around Dave Richards. Hebert had some time, and then he had nothing. Then he had pain. Bobby Hebert was hot coming off the field. Boy, and Atlanta fans, they do not want to see another quarterback scream at anybody for a while. I think they've seen enough of that, Kenny.
7th Atlanta punt. Nowhere to go for Glenn Milburn. 43 yards on the punt. Bobby Hebert not very happy about things as the Falcons trail by 3 touchdowns.
I tell you, this has got to be the best of times and the worst of times here. You got on this side, you got a quarterback who's trying to stay alive. They just had to suspend one quarterback. They have no idea what they're going to do for the rest of the season. They haven't won a game yet. Then on the other side, that guy could care less. He's just there reading the magazine.
Must be a very interesting article. He's been on that for about 10 minutes now. Barry Sanders takes the pitch back from Scott Mitchell. You know, that's that conversation between Bobby Hebert and June Jones, a little less low-key than we saw 2 weeks ago between Jones and Jeff George. And if, in case you missed it, James Brown in the pregame show, and we'll get back to that in a minute, Ron, as, you know, you would think that I paid somebody.
And Ron.
You would think that I paid somebody
At
to
what
do
point,
that.
I think you did. I really do. At what point am I going to get my name on a sign around here?
Well, you just wrote it on there.
I'm making progress, huh?
Getting back to the Jeff George situation, in case you missed it during our pregame show, he would like to go to Oakland. The Falcons would love to trade for Chester McLaughlin. They've worked out some of the details of a possible deal with Seattle for Rick Meyer. But in the best possible scenario in George's mind is to go to Oakland and work out a short-term deal. But the Raiders would like the situation to continue until the trade deadline and hope that Atlanta releases Jeff George at the Tuesday 4 p.m. trade deadline. Pete Metzelaar with his 3rd catch of the day. So the question is, come Tuesday at 4 p.m., will Jeff George be a Raider? Will Jeff George be a Seahawk? Well, will he still be a Falcon, or will he be released?
Well, what the Raiders are waiting on is for nothing to happen in the deal with Seattle so that Atlanta can cut him and then they can pick him up for cheap, figuring that they will have leverage because his market value drops and all that kind of stuff. And it's funny what June Jones told us last night. He said he's really not that enthused about having Rick Meyer on his team. He would rather have a defensive lineman, some defensive help. So that puts a totally different spin on the whole thing.
Kendall threw it away, and you have to wonder if June Jones was just covering up for the current quarterback Bobby Hebert. You know, if he comes out and says, yeah, I want Meyer, what does that do to Hebert's head and the rest of the team?
Yeah, well, but we know one thing. We know defensively on the line that they're small, and that's been a concern. But you have to figure first off, and this is the real deal with the Falcons and how people think of Jeff George. A lot of the guys on the team don't like Jeff George. They flat out do not like him. And so this is a situation where, yeah, they may take a while to get back in sync with Hebert, whoever they bring in, but the guys are going to be happier for it. They'd rather play that way than go with George.
Slingshot pass, and Herman Moore went up but could not hang on to the football. And, you know, Bobby Hebert, when we asked him about the Jeff George confrontation with Jones, Bobby Hebert said if you can't get along with June, you can't get along with anybody.
And I believe that's true. Speaking of getting along, Herman couldn't get along with this pass. A nice play there by Tim McKyer. You know, McKyer has been very active today. You saw him coming off the corner, a couple inside blitzes. Now he's dropping back in coverage, doing a pretty good job of getting to the football.
Flags on the punt. Referee Jerry Markbright in his 21st National Football League season.
False start, number 52, offense. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Scott Kolakowski, the special teams captain of the Lions, pushes Detroit back 5 yards.
Jim Eddy over there with John Tierling talking to Henry Thomas. Tierling there. John Tierling goes through 2 shirts a game. Now he went in, he sweats so much in the first half, no matter where he's at, that he has to go in and change shirts. So see, that shirt's dry. He's got little spots over there, but for the most part, that shirt is dry. By the 4th quarter, it'll be drenched.
Similar to your situation here in the booth. Went for the quick change at halftime.
Yeah.
And with the Lions leading 28-7, Teerlink and Pitts with new shirts. We'll be back. Degree hot rookies are Jacksonville's Tony Brackens and St. Louis Rams quarterback Tony Banks, along with Miami running back Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, still keeping the pace. Each week, Degree will honor the NFL's hottest rookies.
Speaking of Degree, now there's a hot coach.
John Teerlink can use some Degree.
Pouring off Teerlink. I mean, it's not hot in here. Teerlink could be in Green Bay in December and still be sweating bullets like that.
Roel Preston, the Falcons' leading receiver today, scampers down to the 40. 15 yards on the 6th catch today by Preston.
That's back to the things that they have been doing good so far. The quick screen out to the wide receiver. See how fast the offensive linemen get out, and what's key here is that they got to get blocks there and there. If you get that done, now you give your guy a chance to do some moves and make something happen. Especially if you got a defensive line that's so quick to penetrate inside. The screens are excellent. Now it's time to get back to running it.
From the 40, Hebert on the delayed handoff. Jamal Anderson finds a hole.
Wow.
Oh, how about
wow.
that? Now, to call it a stiff arm with his arm, what about when he leads with the head?
A headache. Somebody get a bottle of Advil and some ice.
See Jamal looking up, waiting for the replay on the big screen?
He says a DB should never tackle him. If he does, he should get punished. Nice block on Benny Blades there. Look at that.
Oh. Ooh. Helmet to helmet.
Ooh, look at Van. He's grabbing his head.
And last week it was Van Malone who was fined for a helmet-to-helmet hit on Alvin Harper. Malone took the brunt of it there.
Yep.
Hebert to the outside. Terrence Mathis, whose mother Carol is here today, Detroit native. So the Falcons moving the chains, moving the ball downfield with 6:13 to go in the third quarter. And that was career reception number 300 for Mathis.
It all starts with the screens, and that was a great hit, though. Let's listen to that hit from Jamal Anderson.
Second down and 3. Hebert with time. Another first down. Freddie Scott, his second reception of the afternoon, doing it in front of his hometown crowd. And a flag following the play. 12-yard reception as Benny Blades with a late hit, perhaps.
I guess Benny Blades doesn't care that his father was a Lion.
And was among the honorees at halftime. Lions alumni.
You talk about a guy that's invaluable to this team. Benny Blades playing some linebacker position this year. He jokes about that because
Necessary roughness on number 36 defense.
You know, Benny knows too. Well, let's watch. He's got him around the neck. He's okay here, but this is what they don't like. But look at Benny. He's going back to the, and then he taunts him there.
Penalties killed the Falcons earlier. Now they are on the receiving end. It's first and goal on the 5, and all of a sudden the Falcons can pull within 2 touchdowns. They trailed 28-0 earlier. Crowd on its feet. First and goal. Anderson.
Oh, nice move. Nice move.
He is in for the touchdown, his second today. Lions felt they stopped Anderson. Terrific second effort as the Falcons pull within 28-13.
Doing a great job with the draw. They influence the pass rush. Watch these guys come up the field. They influence everybody up the field. They give the ball off. Now, this is all Jamal Anderson. You know, big backs like this aren't supposed to be able to run and do those kind of things. And he just got in the end zone before he got cute with the ball.
Jamal Anderson came into the game with 1 career touchdown. He has tripled that total as flags are thrown.
They got hold everywhere. Now Palcoa mixing in, the referee getting put on his back.
Yes, the side judge, Ron Liebsack, went flying following the play, following the point after. And here Bobby Hebert and June Jones continue to discuss things on the sidelines.
As long as it's a discussion, no arguing.
That's 2 touchdowns the last 3 possessions for the Falcons after they punted the first 6.
We're going to give the option.
Assess it on the kickoff.
12 men on the field. Defense. Penalty is accepted. The try is good. 5-yard penalty on the kickoff.
He's calling back home to Woodland Hills. He's asked his inmates saw him.
We certainly did. Lions couldn't stop him. Atlanta Falcons safety Brian Jordan propelled the St. Louis Cardinals into the National League Championship Series yesterday with his 2-run home run in the 9th inning as the Cardinals swept the Dodgers. And Wednesday night, Jordan and his Cardinal teammates in Game 1 against the Atlanta Braves Wednesday night here on Fox, National League Championship Series. And here in Detroit, the Red Wings on the road last night, beginning their season, going down to defeat 3-1 in New Jersey.
See, this guy's starting to get
nervous.
Now he's yawning.
Now he's yawning, though. Not reading anymore. Now yawning.
He's nervous. He put the magazine down. Now it's time to.
And another short kickoff as the Lions will start in good field position. 14-yard return.
At least the Falcons now are in position to get themselves back into the game. I mean, I think they're in the game now, really. They need 2 touchdowns, but the last 2 series, they have hammered on Scott Mitchell. And they forced punts, and they've gotten relatively good field position. And that last drive was their best drive of the game.
Scott Mitchell and the Lions have won their last 9 games here at the Silverdome. And they lead by a pair of touchdowns as Sanders eludes the first tackle, then works his way back to the line of scrimmage before he was taken to the turf by Travis Hall.
It's amazing talking to Barry about what he does with his shoes. How many shoes can a guy go through per game that cuts like that and spins like that? He told me he has to go through a pair of shoes every 4 games. That's just from 60 minutes work. Every 4 times it's time for a new pair.
So is this the first game with those shoes or the 4th?
Who knows?
68 yards today for Sanders, and Mitchell is taken down. Dan Owens, the former Lion who spent the last 6 years here in Detroit and then left via free agency, with his 2nd sack of the season, and it comes against his former teammates.
Watch the pressure inside. Dan Owens is going to be right there. And really it comes from the other side. Can't see who that is. That looks like Chuck Smith. Chuck Smith coming from the left side.
And Owens is in for the injured Mo Gardner.
That's Chuck Smith right there. He comes in inside him the loop. But look at the coverage. Man-to-man, excellent coverage across the board.
And now on 3rd and 14.
Oh, they got to call the holding. Oh,
that was Lenny McGill again.
Lenny McGill's going to get away with one.
Herman Moore cannot believe it.
And Herman better be careful. Herman pushed the official. Herman pushed the official. He should have been tossed out of here. And Herman's got a right to be hot. I don't understand how the official blows that call.
That's the back judge, George
Coleman. The back judge is looking at it. I mean, that is unbelievable. Watch McGill. It happened before that. As Herman Moore was coming back to the football, McGill just completely stretched his jersey almost off his body.
Earlier, McGill called for the pass interference on Moore, but this time, no flags. And Mark Royals, short kick, but it does take a Lions bounce.
Wow.
Late on the bounce by Metcalf. 3.5 to go, 3rd quarter. Falcons making a game of it. 51-yard punt, only 3 on the return. And down downfield called on the Lions. So Royals
what a punch.
punts it away once again, forcing Metcalf back to the 20.
Oof.
Metcalf did not want to take another hit like he did earlier.
Yeah, and he's not 100%. You can see the way he's limping there from that hit he took earlier. But they're still going to be in very nice field position, but they're going to have to go back again and kick it.
Another flag. It's on the Lions.
They're going to decline this one.
Ineligible man downfield on the kick, number 30. The penalty is declined. First down.
They're going to decline that because of Mark Royals. Mark Royals is pounding the football. He's kicking so well that he's making up for the penalty yards.
57 yards on the punt, and the Falcons will start from the 45-yard line when we return.
The play where Herman Moore felt he was held, and he was held. It happened before this, but watch what he does afterwards. This is how you almost get kicked out of a game. Herman goes ballistic. And watch right here. See, the official says, hey, you touched my arm. You bumped into me. And very alertly,
and
they get him out of the game. They get him out of the way and get him on the sideline.
You could see George Coleman about to go for the flag.
Boy,
it
was close. But George Coleman should have seen the holding penalty. I mean, it was blatant. And Herman has a right to be upset.
And there is George Coleman, the back judge.
And the worst part about it is that George is on their sideline, the Detroit Lions sideline. And I guarantee it, here's what happened in the commercial. Boy, I guarantee you, they're talking about his family members big time over there on that sideline.
And now the Falcons start from the 45. Their last drive began on the 45, and they march downfield to the end zone. On first down, it's Anderson receiving the bulk of the work now. At fullback, Craig Hayward started the game, and Anderson, who has already scored 2 touchdowns today, gains 3 on first down.
It doesn't get any better than that. That's Benny Blades, and look at them. They're walking back together. Benny's trying to talk a little trash. That's that intimidation. Now, Jamal says he doesn't want to be run over or be tackled by any DB. Well, there's one DB right there that he may have to concede.
Second down and 6. Falcons spread the 4 wide receivers. Metcalf has not returned that offense, although he has returned kicks. So Freddie Scott still in, and Mathis makes the catch. Beautiful spin, and a catch made by Mathis down to the 33-yard line, gain of 16. So the Falcons on the move once again.
Nice slant. Remember, Bobby Hebert tried to throw this last week and got it picked off. He said he didn't turn and throw fast enough. He held a little bit too long. This time, the timing's perfect. Now, that's about the first or second slant we've seen from them today. Detroit not going so much man anymore. They figure they're up. They can back off a little bit, play zone. I think that's going to be a big mistake for them.
Falcons have gotten the job done here in the 3rd quarter. And Hebert on first down could not find any receivers, and he is taken down by Henry Thomas.
You know, we keep talking about the right side of the offensive line. I don't know if someone tripped Dave Richards right over here. It looked like he stepped on the inside right there of Zandowski's foot.
3rd sack of the game for the Lions, and for Thomas, his 4th of the year.
This is smart, though. Bobby Hebert, and that's why you got to have a veteran quarterback. He doesn't try to force the throw. He goes ahead and eats the ball and lines up for another down. Don't commit the turnover.
So now 2nd down and 12 on the delay. It's Anderson. Big yardage once again. Jamal Anderson, and what an interesting childhood. His dad, head of security for, among others, Muhammad Ali, Donna Summers, Richard Pryor, currently working with Boys to Men, and you can tell he certainly enjoys himself both on and off the football field. Anderson on the day, 11 carries, 70 yards. Terrence Mathis once again inside the 15.
Well, now they're starting to get fired up. Well, is this not a complete carbon copy of last year's game, just in reverse? Well, I think that sweater's red enough. The quick slant right in here. They're going to run Mathis, and the trick is to find the hole. Hebert's got to throw that ball fast, quick, on time, right there. If he waits a second longer, the defense is going to have time to react.
And this will be the final play of the third quarter. Anderson stays on his feet, and that is touchdown number 3 for Jamal Anderson. And the Falcons, who trail 28-0, have pulled within 1 touchdown.
The offense for Detroit didn't get the breaks they had in the first half. The field position game stopped. The Falcons got a couple breaks, and now it's a completely different game. And we talked about this guy in the beginning, the run. You have the pass, but here you got to watch the run as well, and that's how they're killing people.
Falcons with no rushing touchdowns their first 4 games. They have 3 here today.
They have Jamal Anderson here today, too.
And they also have Morton Anderson on the extra point.
That's right.
And that is the end of quarter number 3. With the Lions, who led 28-0, now hanging on. It's Detroit 28, Atlanta 21.
Appreciate the way the Falcons get man-on-man blocking, and that's what makes this play work. You know, it looks as it stopped right here, and even Hank Thomas there almost makes the tackle. But they have a block there. They got blocks from the outside. They have blocks on everybody on defense, and that's been the difference. They start running the ball, and I go back to when Bobby Hebert didn't try to throw that ball. He took the sack. I think that was key, because he lived for another day, and another day was he completes a slant and then runs the ball.
Wow. He lives for another quarter as the Falcons have made a game out of this one. They led 28-0, the Lions did. And Jamal Anderson becomes, Ron, only the 3rd player in the history of the Atlanta Falcons, their 31-year history, to score 3 rushing touchdowns in 1 game. It was done only twice before by Gerald Riggs back in 1985, Lynn Kane in '84, both against the Rams, but that has been it. So Jamal Anderson has tied the Falcons team record with 3 rushing touchdowns in 1 game. Now the Lions back to work. Mitchell, no receivers open, and he threw it away, took a hit.
They are starting to get heat now up front in the Atlanta defensive line. That was not there in the first half. And if I'm Detroit, I mean, look at the difference. I mean, a complete switch. And look at that. That tells me, you know what that tells me? 23 tells me number 20. I'm going to start giving the ball to Barry Sanders. That'll take time off the clock, and he's your playmaker.
You called it, Ron. There he is. Barry Sanders gains only 2. And right now, let's go to Hollywood. McDonald's game break. James Brown at our Fox Television Center.
Kenny, Tim Biakabatuka injured. Running back Anthony Johnson replaces him. First rushing touchdown of the season for the Panthers. Add to that a safety. It has been narrow, 14-9 Minnesota. Back to Kenny and Ron.
Boy, Carolina, they got a team. They are impressive. Even losing, like JB said, Tim Biakabatuka still finding a way to keep the game close.
And they will host the Rams next week in Charlotte. Mitchell with the quick slant to Brett Perriman, has the first down out to the 34-yard line.
Detroit has to go now. They have to move this ball. They have to get on the other side of the 50. Their last 2 or 3 possessions have been basically 3 and outs. They can't afford that right now. You're looking at a complete switch in momentum.
And you referred earlier to last year's game in Atlanta. The Falcons led the Lions 27-0. Then Detroit made a game of it. Here today it was the Lions ahead 28-0. Right now 28-21.
Chuck Smith got a little dingy. Looked like he was walking into the tunnel. He was so dinged. They had to come out to the numbers and get him off the field.
They already lost Mo Gardner from the defensive line with a left ankle injury. So now Shane Garnett has come on, replacing Smith. Barry Sanders
the ball.
He does not fumble very often.
It's a mad fight for the ball right now. Nobody has it. If you're under that pile, look at him. You got to get in there and fight and pull and get it.
And it is Falcons football.
That is huge. And you know, I've seen Barry Sanders fumble more in his last 2 years in the league. No, they're reversing it. I've seen him fumble more in his last 2 years in the league than I've ever seen. Look, it's not done yet. They don't know yet. Boy, that's a fight. That's unbelievable. That was the break Atlanta needed, and it's Atlanta's ball. That's huge.
Devin Bush came up with it. And Barry Sanders, who went over 800 attempts, rushing attempts, without a fumble until last year, has fumbled right here, the first turnover of this game.
Okay, now this is where the drama actually starts. The ball's on the ground, and that's why they keep telling you. I guarantee you that ball changes hands 3, 4, 5 times. I mean, there it is right there. Okay, but guys are still fighting. I mean, look at one guy's knee is bent back. The official's down there trying to get the ball. The last couple of possessions for Detroit have been scary. Look at this. And the worst part about it, and they went backwards one time. The worst part about it is that they're basically going 3 and out. They're not holding the ball. They're not running time off the clock. They have let Atlanta back in this game that way. And Bobby Hebert has been smart and taking advantage of it with a good running game.
Here's Hebert rolling left, dumps it off, looking for Anderson, but you really have to credit the Falcons. I mean, they were dead. They trailed 28-0, and they've pulled within 28-21. They've had 3 wide receivers out, including Metcalf, who returned to the special teams, but Bobby Hebert leading the Falcons back here in this second half.
I think the big difference, though, has been the turnovers. You know, we saw that film from last week. They went down the field, looking at Mouse Davis there, the offensive coordinator. They went down the field nice, got 3, came back, and then had the big pick. Bobby Hebert has not done that so far today.
Hebert hands it off to Anderson. He's been the trump card for the Falcons with 3 touchdowns. Then he blades in on the stop.
They keep running that draw, and the draw works because they first influence a pass rush. They give you a pass look from the offensive line up front. Here it is right here. I want you to watch the offensive line carefully. Right here, here, and here. See, they're setting for pass. That influences these guys up the field, and it creates lanes. And that's where Jamal Anderson has been doing his damage.
3rd down and 6. Hebert over the middle, it's complete. Terrence Mathis makes the catch. Falcons first down. And what a key catch on 3rd and 6 to keep this drive alive.
It all started with the protection. Whitfield, Zandowski, Richards holding up then. Fortin inside working on Hank Thomas. Let's watch that one right in there. They put the double on him, they keep him out. See, when your quarterback can see down the middle of the field like that, you got a chance. It makes him better. It makes the whole team better. You got to give that credit to the offensive line. Look at that gap. He can see right down the middle of the field. Nice catch by Mathis. Ball thrown behind him. Does a good job adjusting.
First down of the Lions 20. Jamal Anderson works his way ahead for a gain of 3.
There's that draw again. Now, that draw neutralized the pass rush on that last play. Here it is again. Watch the pursuit up the field, and all they want is a lane inside somewhere. Nice double team there. Working on Hank Thomas. If you get Hank Thomas blocked, you got a chance, but the rookie Waldrop makes a play, getting him by a shoestring. Once again, we talked about that neutralization of the pass rush through the draw. That's what's giving Hebert more time.
Falcons came in averaging 5 yards per carry, 5.5 this afternoon. Hebert on 2nd and 7. Tyrone Brown could not hang on. Heard footsteps from Corey Raymond.
That's man-to-man coverage. Brown has got to come up with that ball, without a doubt. They brought Benny Blades inside from the blitz. It was man-to-man all over. I want you to watch this. Watch Roman Fortin. He's got to call the blitz. He's got to see it before anybody else and tell everybody what's going on. There it is. He points out right in the direction of Benny Blades. They had the perfect adjustment on it. Hebert went to the right place. He just got to catch the ball.
Another 3rd down situation, 3rd and 7. Hebert looking end zone. It's picked off by Ryan McNeil.
Ryan McNeil turned around like somebody said to him, turn. His back was turned, and a voice in his head said turn, and he made the play. Excellent play by Ryan McNeil.
His 3rd interception this season.
FL Sunday is brought to you by Chrysler and the cab-forward sedans of Chrysler. What's new in your world? By 7-Eleven. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. By the NASDAQ stock market. Visit www.nasdaq.com. And by Fidelity Investments. Isn't it time you had Fidelity Investments working for you?
That is the one thing that Bobby Hebert did not want to happen. That end of the field, they fought back this far. At worst, get yourself a field goal.
So now it's the Lions back to work. Sanders, who fumbled on his last carry, and a flag is thrown.
Holding number 87, offense. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Here's the touchdown back, or the interception, excuse me, back here. Now, Ryan McNeil is going to have man-to-man coverage, and his back is going to be turned all the way down to the end zone. And, you know, DBs have to have great instincts. Something has to tell them to turn. Right here, his back is turned. Now he turns. And they say if you look into the receiver's eyes, his eyes get bigger right before he gets ready to catch it. Some guys put their hands up. Whatever it was, he knew when to turn and look for the ball.
And the flag thrown on Johnny Morton the previous play, and
they got another
go to
one.
Sanders. Yes, another flag.
We have 2 fouls against the offense. Illegal hands to the face on number 89. Illegal hands to the face on number 53. Both penalties are declined. 2nd down.
Metzelars and the center, Kevin Glover. So it will be 2nd down and 20. Penalties declined following the incompletion.
See, but this all goes back to Mitchell. He never started good. And if it wasn't for the help with the field position and the big plays, I mean, you can see the difference in him right there.
And now they say Sanders did hold on, a gain of 2, so it's 2nd and 18. And Mitchell under pressure. He is pulled down. It is Dan Owens once again coming back to Detroit, where he spent the last 6 years, his 2nd sack today.
Nothing makes you feel better than to come back to a team you used to be at and do something to hurt him. There he is right there. He's working on Compton and Ray Roberts inside. Roberts lets him go because he felt like the play was done. He was going to help out, but Owens keeps fighting.
Owens in for the injured Mo Gardner. Now 3rd and 24. Mitchell is hit as he got the pass away.
A complete collapse in the Detroit Lions offensive line. I mean, June Jones, maybe he's not so sure he wants a defensive lineman instead of a quarterback now, because these guys have turned it on. And you talk about getting a three-step drop and then having to throw the ball on time, and if you don't, you're in trouble. That's how fast you should make the quarterback throw.
Great point, Ron. The Falcons heard the rumors all week about Chester McLaughlin and the Travis Halls and the Dan Owens of the world want to go out there and say, hey, we don't need to bring anybody in. We can do the job. Eric Metcalf doing the job here. As he cuts back.
He is one tackle away from going the distance. He had the outside.
And it was Corey Schlesinger who made that tackle. Falcons will start on the Lions 43 when we return. 15-yard return following the 56-yard punt. We'll be back from the Silverdome in just a moment. Next week, it's a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader as the Cardinals battle the Cowboys and the Eagles take on the Giants in two key NFC Eastern Division matchups, plus other exciting regional action. It all begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. So check local listings for the game and time in your area. Still a long ways to go here with the Falcons on the Lions 43. What about that stiff arm? He's still
man. And look at the Falcons sideline. That's what I'm talking about. You talk about the confidence, you talk about enthusiasm. When's the last time you've seen this team get fired up? And that's what I'm saying in the beginning of the game. This guy leads the NFL in yards per carry for a reason. He's
also
leads
the NFL in stiff arms.
Stiff arms per carry. Just appreciate a stiff arm right here on Boyd. He gets him airborne. And then he slaps away Corey Raymond. Watch what he does to Boyd. Just puts him airborne. Now look what he does to Raymond. Oh, I haven't seen guys run through defenses like that since Earl Campbell.
And Jamal Anderson has hit the 100-yard mark. And flags are thrown on 2nd and 2. So Jamal Anderson with his first career 100-yard rushing game.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
I mean, this is a stiff arm that a guy's been using since he was 9 years old. He says, I think I've perfected it pretty well. Now, Boyd is 250 pounds. He's toast. Raymond, you're a punk. Get out of here. I mean, this guy, and he's not done yet.
And he's still in the ball game. He hasn't let Craig Hayward come back in.
Man, he is scary. He's making guys look like they've never played football before.
Metcalf takes only his second handoff of the season. There's been some talk about perhaps letting Metcalf run a bit more out of the backfield, and on that play does not gain much.
I'm not so sure that Metcalf is 100%. I've seen times when he would have juked inside and then gone outside on that play. I don't think he's 100%. You know, we talked about the relationship between Hayward and Jamal Anderson. He said if one guy's doing well, then they have such respect for each other, then the other guy doesn't even bother to try to get in the game. And that's what's happened. Hayward has said, he's on a roll, I'll stay out. That takes a lot of character. That's what being professional is all about.
3rd down and 6 for the Falcons. Hebert's pass is caught for the first down by Tyrone Brown.
Worked on Raymond. They saw Raymond was playing off. Not bad coverage. Raymond's close, but look at the distance. There's the marker right there. Get beyond the marker and then lay down. And Bobby Hebert has got to thank his defense because they have given him another chance. Yes, McNeil got the great interception, but Detroit did nothing with the football. That turnover meant nothing except for stats on McNeil's own record.
Each team turned the ball over on consecutive possessions. Now on 1st down, Hebert.
Oh, they got him.
Airing it out. Tyrone Brown, the intended receiver.
Boy, now Bobby's upset. Bobby's yelling something. Brown right here. He's going to come up stutter and then take off inside. And they got Raymond, but Raymond recovers very nice. He recovers enough so that Bobby from the way he has to look at it from his perspective, he's got to put it over Raymond's head. And then he runs out of room. So in one sense, Raymond got fooled, but he recovered nicely and got back. Look at that. 40 yards.
Working their way back. Anderson adding to his totals.
If he doesn't slip, he's probably going to get the first down.
Jamal Anderson in his 3rd year out of Utah. In fact, during the offseason, he still goes back to Salt Lake and trains, runs the mountains. And that helps his stamina running in the mountains up in Salt Lake.
Stiff arming people helps his stamina too. I don't know. That may be the best stiff arm since Walter Payton, if not the best, because Walter was a smaller guy that had a great stiff arm.
3rd down and 7. 4 wide receivers. Hebert, Mathis, incomplete. Greg Jeffries on the coverage.
Great coverage by Greg Jeffries. You notice Hebert does have time to throw. He really had no place to throw the ball. They're going to have to settle for 3. Jeffries' position right there. And when he sees Mathis' hands go up, then his hands go up. Face guarding, by the way, folks, is legal this year. He can put his hands right in the receiver's face and not get called for it.
So now Morton Anderson, 15-year vet out of Michigan State. 47-yard attempt.
Like it was nothing. Water.
So the Falcons have pulled within 4. It's the Lions 28, the Falcons 24. 47-yard field goal by one of the best ever in the NFL.
These guys must have gotten a fight. They're not talking now.
Just sitting there.
He put down the book. He's excited. Did he think he was going to wear these in here? Like you said, what are those for? You can't use those in here.
Absolutely
not.
Look
at this. You can use that in here, though.
The Atlanta Falcons, 24 unanswered points. Lions led 28-0. It's now 28-24. Just under 6 minutes remaining. Glenn Milburn, former Denver Bronco. And he is stopped by David Brandon.
You know, I go back. I think the key play in this game so far, we talk about Jamal Anderson and his stiff arm. Here's a touchdown earlier on the draw play, and that draw has been better and better for him. And you notice once the draw is good, now it's easier to pass the ball. Hebert is on the ground a lot less this half because that draw neutralizes the pass rush.
Jamal Anderson over 100 yards to go along with 3 touchdowns, which ties a Falcons record. 3 rushing touchdowns in one game. Ooh. Sanders hurdles out to the 25. Jamal Anderson, we saw a couple of moments ago the matchup, the numbers, the running backs, Anderson and Sanders, and Jamal hoping to call home and say, Mom, Dad, I outrushed Barry Sanders.
Well, and it's not over yet, though. And the thing they got to do, which they're doing now, work on the clock. And they ran Barry on first down. If you can get yourself in a 2nd and 5 or less, now you're doing good. That's why you got to get Barry on first down when they're not looking for him as much as they are pass.
And this is 2nd and 5. Mitchell, slingshot to Johnny Morton for the first down. Jesse Tuggle made the stop.
That's about as good a coverage as you're going to see on Jesse Tuggle on Morton. I mean, you're asking a linebacker to stay with an inside wide receiver. Tell you that guy. And you know who's been quiet today is Cornelius Bennett. Cornelius working to that outside position. He was inside all those years in the 34 in Buffalo. Didn't like it, hated it. Much more comfortable down here in the 43 playing outside.
And now it's Sanders on first down.
There it is.
Picks up the yardage, works the clock down.
Sanders on first down is the ticket. Because now, if you're Rod Russ, the defensive coordinator for Atlanta, what are you going to call? You're looking at 2nd and 2. Barry just shot a hole in you. Now, you got to believe that they're going to go to him again or 2, and then they got the pass in them. So you're really in no man's land as a result of a good gain on first down. And like we said, the clock keeps running.
Second down and 2.
And Mitchell taking all the time on the clock, too, down to 5 seconds.
Sanders.
No, ooh, that's going to be close.
Hit by Shane Jornet.
If he doesn't get it, and it looks like he did, if he doesn't get it, it's a huge third down for Atlanta and Detroit.
Barry averaging nearly 5 yards per carry in the second half.
Yeah, that tells me right there that they got to get him the ball. Whoa, whoa.
He's got it.
You got to give Wayne Fontes credit for hanging in there the last couple years here. You know, last year everybody was on his case, given the ultimatum, so to speak. And I think it helps when you have a guy like Barry Sanders to hang in there too.
Doesn't hurt. Guess who? He stumbles.
He should have broke his legs making that cut, without a doubt. That was an amazing cut right there.
And the Falcons have called timeout to stop the clock. 3:08 to go. June Jones and the Falcons trailing by 4. Here on Fox, Game 1, National League Championship Series. St. Louis Cardinals coming off their sweep of the Padres and the Braves, who got by the Dodgers. Braves looking to repeat. It's Game 1 Wednesday with Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, Bob Brenly, right here on Fox. The National League Championship Series between the Braves and the Cardinals. Mitchell's pass short, intended for more, and this time a flag. This time Lenny McGill is caught.
Right here, working on Lenny McGill. He's going to get inside of him pretty good now. See, he's got his hold of him. He got a hold of the cloth, and then he just wraps him. They have to call that.
Number 28, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Tough afternoon, Lenny McGill. Second penalty. Also, the 40-yard gain earlier on pass interference, beaten for a touchdown as well.
Lenny McGill, of course, was coming from Green Bay, a free agent. He just got in a situation up there where there were too many good corners. Craig Newsome up there.
And Green Bay all over Chicago, 37-6. Packers now 5-1. Lions hoping to keep pace, 1 game behind.
They got to burn one. They got to burn it. Atlanta's got to burn it.
Yep, that will be their second timeout. June Jones and company with 1 timeout remaining, 2:54 to play. 2nd and 10 upcoming.
I'd have to believe that Rod Rust, the defensive coordinator for Atlanta, is going to start doing some blitzing. I mean, they got a nice stop there for a loss. They had to burn a timeout. They still have 2 left, so there are 1 left now, so there are no danger of that. You look at Rust there, but they got to make something happen. They got to get the ball either on the ground, get a stop, force him to the air, and then get off the field. I mean, if you're ever going to gamble and take a chance on Tom Moore's offense, this is the time you want to do it. Tom Moore, of course, spent a lot of good years with Pittsburgh back in the days of the Super Bowls and steel curtain defenses and all that good stuff.
His club, the Lions, led today 28-0 in the first half, but the Falcons have fought their way back.
Yeah, they got him.
Flag is thrown as Perriman makes the catch.
Nice job with the hard count by Mitchell. Lack of concentration by the defense.
Let's listen to the cadence, which in just a moment, which pulled the Falcons off sides. First, Jerry Markbright.
Jerry looks a little
confused.
concerned. What are you talking about?
Offside, number 98, defense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Travis Hall, now the cadence from Mitchell.
Very nicely done, a la John Elway. Well, you talk about the little things that hurt you when you really need it the most.
Some key penalties on both sides here today. 2:48 to go. Second down and 6 for the Lions. Scott Mitchell with 3 touchdown passes, 1 rushing touchdown, all in the first half. And it's batted down at the line.
Nice deflection
And
by Owens.
A bit of a scuffle here.
Ray Roberts.
And Lester Archambault.
How about big Ray Roberts? What a story he is. There's a guy that loves to sleep. He says sleep is drastically overrated or underrated. Nice job there by Owens. Getting his hand up in the throwing lane, getting that ball down. That's Tony Simple, number 62, down the right guard.
And here comes Jeff Hardings, the first-round draft pick, who was a holdout in for the first time. Did not even practice until this week with the Lions, and he's thrown into this situation with 2:44 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he comes in for the first time last week. Missed all the training camp, all the games so far.
First rounder out of Penn State. Lions down to the 3rd string at right guard. Scott Conover inactive, and now Tony Semple is out.
Yeah, you see Semple get bent back right there. Well, how many times do we see that? Guys getting bent back over their feet. Going back to Hardings, you know, the hang-up on his deal, which is the same hang-up on a lot of the deals these days for guys coming out of college, is avoidable years. You know, it's not the $1 million signing bonus that they get or the $1 million contract they get per year. They want to be a free agent in a relatively short time, because with the money that's being thrown around out there, that's what you want to do. You want to be put out there and get some of that. And that's what Jeff George wants to try to do. He and his agent Lee Steinberg, they've reportedly asked for somewhere in between $5 and $6 million a year.
And Seattle has
Can you believe that?
agreed,
Yeah.
should the deal become done.
But they want to try to lock him up for a 5-year contract. They have to. They can't pay that guy and give him that money for a short term. They got to try to keep him.
So Jeff Hardings in his first NFL snap. And Mitchell airs it out. Herman Moore makes the catch. On 3rd and 6. Extending the Lions' drive. $33 yards to Moore.
Watch the protection first of all. He has time to pump fake, then go back. Doesn't even get his uniform dirty. Once again, Herman Moore working on Lenny McGill. He runs that little stuttering up. Boy, that's a bold route to try. 3rd down. But if you're going to try it, you know what? You go to the money guy. He's got every reason to smile. Herman's sure he's from Motown now.
Certainly is. As Barry Sanders takes the handoff. I happened to see that commercial this morning.
Oh, I love that.
Herman Moore only 3 catches today, 2 for touchdowns, and he is over 100 yards for the 3rd time this season.
I don't know if Don Cornelius taught him to dance or not, but he was too sore to try to dance down here in the end zone the first touchdown.
Tender right shoulder, did not practice all week. And the clock will run down to the 2-minute warning. Scott Mitchell over to chat with Wayne Fonts. It's the Lions 28, the Falcons 24. We'll return to the Silverdome for the final minutes right after this.
To refresh your memory, here are the points that we talked about that each team had to be aware of in order to be successful in the game. And you look at now, Hebert, they got it going with the dink and dunk in the second half. Not so much in the first, but the yards rushing really came on, and that's what almost beat Detroit right there. And you see Mitchell, he started to spread it around. He got the ball to Herman. He got the ball to Morton. He got the ball to Perryman. He did a decent job of spreading the ball around. They dodged that running bullet. They dodged the Jamal Anderson bullet in the second half.
Atlanta with one timeout
so far.
One timeout remaining. 2 minutes to go. Mitchell fakes the handoff to Sanders. Johnny Morton down to the 1.
Nice play. Very nice call by Tom Moore. Nobody expecting this at all. Comes with a bootleg. Now, there's Johnny Morton. See, they lose Micaiah right there on the motion. He comes back inside. I don't think he has man coverage, or maybe he does. But some way or another, they lost the coverage on that man. And then Morton trying to show some guts there, putting that ball in the end zone. And that's the reason you use motion, to try to find out. Man, now see, there's Morton right there. And he's got the coverage on Micaiah right there. Now see, Micaiah's in here. He's lost his man. That's the point of putting guys in motion, to determine whether it's zone or man coverage, and then hopefully losing the man coverage. Tom Moore right there.
And Devin Bush of the Falcons was shaken up. So Bush heading to the sidelines. So due to the injury, the Falcons charged with their final timeout.
Right, inside 2 minutes, you got to take the hit of a timeout. That takes the factor out of the game of people faking injuries just to stop the clock.
And just a moment ago, following the placement of the ball on the 1, the fans here at the Silverdome chanting Barry, Barry. Not used in short yardage situations the last couple of years, really throughout his career, but they've gone to Sanders the last couple of weeks.
Well, I think Barry has been more of a decoy now the last few weeks on the goal line than he has anything else.
Remember week 1, Eric Lynch, goal line play fumble, the key fumble, and they lost to Minnesota, and the Lions took a lot of heat regarding not using Sanders on the short yardage situations, but he is in the game right now, along with 2 tight ends, Pete Metzelars and Derek Price. 1st and goal. Scott Mitchell down to 1 knee as the clock continues to run. Lions leading the Falcons 28-24. Kenny Albert and Ron Pitts from the Silverdome in Detroit. Falcons with no timeouts remaining. And Ron, the key play.
Well, here's the pass to Moore. You know, this is the first half. This is the one that made it 28-0. And, you know, we talked about Herman and Don Cornelius learning to dance in the end zone. And his shoulder's hurting, so he didn't do too much dancing right there. I think that's smart what they just did. Atlanta has no timeouts, and everybody in the stadium is mad at Scott Mitchell, at Wayne Fonts for not running Barry Sanders and scoring another touchdown. But Atlanta has no timeouts. Why should they? I mean, there it is right there.
Lions do not want to lose the football. Barry Sanders fumbled earlier.
Why get Barry? I mean, this guy is thoroughly upset. He just can't understand.
I mean, don't they understand the Lions are about to win the game and go 4-2?
Tom Moore, offensive coordinator, he understands. He understands thoroughly.
In the first half, Lions took the 28-0 lead.
And it's second
Scott
down.
Mitchell, yes, second down. Scott Mitchell threw 3 touchdowns, also ran for 1. Falcons have fought their way back.
They can run another 2 plays, kneel on it, and be out of here.
And Mitchell is down to 1 knee as the Lions will win their 3rd game in a row. And they hear the boos from the crowd.
Isn't it amazing? To be 4-2, this team, these people, years past would have loved for this to happen.
Well, the Lions will win their 10th consecutive game here at home. Falcons will lose their 7th in a row on the road. And last year, the Lions did not win their 4th game. They did not pick up their 4th victory until week number 10. So the Lions will go to 4-2, travel to Oakland next week, while the Falcons host Houston 1 week from today. And Atlanta, despite the valiant effort here in the second half, will drop to 0-5. third down. Mitchell down to the knee once more. And the Detroit Lions have defeated the Atlanta Falcons by the score of 28-24. Despite the 3-touchdown afternoon for Falcons back Jamal Anderson, who went over the 100-yard mark. But Wayne Fontes and the Lions now 4-2. For Barry Sanders, 86 yards here today. Lions go to 4-2. Falcons 0-5. The NASDAQ postgame report coming up from the Fox Television Center. Lions over the Falcons, 28-24.